Okay, so again, as you guys can see, we are in clear market structure in a downtrend, right? We have our lower highs, and you got to understand, and I'm going to repeat this again, you have to go with the higher time frames. If this 1 hour, to me, this 1 hour time frame is super easy, right? You can see our lower lows perfectly, and you can see our lower highs perfectly, right? If I go to the 2 hour again, you could see them, but you have these long wicks, which it doesn't matter, but it's just for you guys. Does this make more sense to you? Can you see the lower highs without no problem, right? What about the 4 hour? Is the 4 hour still clear? And as you can see, it's still clear, but which one looked best to you? And for me is the 1 hour. The 1 hour looked very easy. I see all of my lower lows and I can see my higher highs without even drawing them on the chart. So for me, I am just gonna stick with the 1 hour, right? So now what we see is that we were bullish above this level, right? We were bullish above this level. So what do? How do we trade this knowing that we're bullish above this level? So what we would like to do is scale down into a lower time frame. And as you can see, we start to get a range, but we are still bullish above this level. So what do? Right? We could wait for two things to happen, which I like to wait for, because at the end of the day, we are bearish, right? We are bearish, as I just pointed out. Our time frame alignment is showing us that we are in a bearish trend. Right? So right now we are in a bearish trend. That's not how you spell trend. Okay, so we are bearish and we are in a bearish trend right now. So there are two of things that you can do. And for me, since we are in a bearish trend, I'm not taking no buys up to this level. As you can see, we are bullish above this level, right? I want to be bearish below this level, right? So for me, in order to get into a trade, because of the context, because what can happen is that price can say, price could do this. Price could say, hi, I want to stop right here and I want to go lower, right? It doesn't have to come back up to this line. You know what I mean? So if you take a trade, you have more of a risk. It's more risky to take a buy back to this level since we're in a downward trend, right? Because it's not guaranteed it has to come to this level. So what I like to do is I want to wait the price to come to this level, and then I want to take the sell back down to this level. You see what I'm saying? It just, because we know if we break these highs, because again, we will have to do this real quick, right? Put your stop loss above these highs, take profit down at these lows, right? So what we know is if we break this lower high and then we're no longer bearish, right? So why don't we just go with the trend instead of trying to fight the trend, right? So let's wait till price to get to this level and then we take our sell to go with the trend, because if it continues the trend, and then we could get way more than a 3RR, we can maybe get a 6RR, touch all of these other lows that price may want to come and take liquidity from, right? So again, we are all-time highs with NQ, so I don't expect us for to be in a downtrend for a long time. But as of right now, these last 3 days, we have been in a downtrend, right? And if we look at the overall trend, you can see that we're very bullish, right? And then what happened? We had our low right here, which was broken, and then we broke it again, right? So now we are bearish for the time being, until we get some bullish momentum, right? Until price decides to break lower highs, and then we can start to look for bullish trades. But as for now, we are nowhere near bullish, right? So what we like to do again is I'm going to go back into this back test, and we are going to scale down into the 5-minute time frame, and all we're going to do is wait for price to dictate the direction it wants to go. So we are waiting for price to come up back up to this level. And if it decides to respect that level, all we do is take a sell. Right? It doesn't matter how long that it takes. That is the one thing about you guys is that we expect, since we are scalpers, we expect for this pullback. Again, right here was pretty fast. Right? This would have been a great trade because we got down to these lows, right? And that's what you guys understand too, is that you have to know where the next pool of liquidity lies. The next pool of liquidity lies at the lows, right? That's why you always get reversals after lows being took, right? Low got took, liquidity sweep, price came back on top of support, and now we're going higher, right? So that is what we want to target, right? Again, if you're swing trading, you could target longer trends, but it would be better for you if you target the lows that are already showing within that previous what's the word I'm looking for, in that previous trading session, right? As you can see, this is Asian session, or this is the end of New York. This is Asian session right here, guys. Right? So Asian session opened up, taking out New York highs, right? So what does it like to do after it takes highs? It likes to go and take lows, right? So as you can see, we are bearish underneath this level. So this is our indication, right? Underneath this level, we are in a downtrend. So we are bearish underneath this level, right? So that is what I'm going to put. This is our indication. Matter of fact, I don't gotta spell it out no more. I have this shit right here. Boom. Okay. So how do we know this is our indication? Right? This is support. Right? Do you guys see that? This is support. Price bounced off of this area multiple times. Right? So now we know that this is our support level. We are in a downtrend because why? We're getting lower highs. Right? Right? So you see that we have our initial high, and then we start to get lower highs. So we know we're in a downtrend. And again, I could do the same thing on the bottom. We are getting lower lows, but I really shouldn't have to do that. You guys should know what they are already. All right, but regardless is that they are still here on the screen. We identified our support level, which is right here, right? Because price has touched it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So what do you see? You see price break beneath it. Once price broke underneath this level and it retested it, this right here is a great sell, right, back down to this level. But we didn't get to catch this one because maybe it was, again, this is 10 o'clock at night. Nobody's trading at this time, right? We don't trade Asian session until after 12 p.m. 12 midnight, right? So now we're getting in session. No, we're not. Holy hell, it's still 10 o'clock. It really doesn't matter. You guys already know gold. It's better to trade it London and New York session, but there are times during Asian session where gold is moving really fast, and I can tell you how fast it's moving right now. Right? You guys remember the app is called how the hell do you pronounce this shit again? Mataf? I don't know how to pronounce this shit, bro. But regardless, is that it lets you know the volatility of each asset. So if we go and look at the volatility of gold right now, XAU USD, XAU, even this still works for futures because futures, gold, and XAU USD is the same thing, just a little bit different, right? So if we look at how many pips gold is moving right now, is moving around 4,000 pips per hour. Per hour. That's super fast, right? Again, this is at 19. This is at 7 o'clock. So in the next 2 hours, gold will be moving around double what it's moving right now. right? Again, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then 9, 10 o'clock at night. That is when gold moves the fastest, right? So it's not a problem trading gold almost any time of the day. The only time you don't want to trade gold is maybe after like around 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. Not a good time to trade gold. And then after, like for me, I will definitely trade gold after midnight. But sometimes, if the market is moving fast like it is right now, I will trade it after 9:30, 10 o'clock because that is when Sydney overlaps with Asia session and there's more people on the market, right? And then London session as well, super high, right? So let's go back to, oh, we're in, this is NQ right now. I'm bugging. This isn't even gold. It doesn't even matter. We'll get into that shit later. Alright, but we're just gonna go over the back test and how to identify what our indication is. Right? So this is our indication. Price broke beneath this level, giving us our indication. So now all that we wait for is price to come back. Right? So in a higher time frame, you gotta remember that we do our indications majority of the time on a higher time frame because they're the ones that are giving us direction. When we do like a 15-minute correction, like right here, right? This was what, like a 5-minute correction? We have our indication, we have our correction, and then we have our continuation. Yes, it happens on a smaller time frame, so you could have scalped this, but as you can see, price worked its way back up. So what happens on the first, it will happen on a lower time frame, and then second, it will happen on a higher time frame. So if you could catch the higher time frame move, that will be more beneficial for you because you will be able to get to carry on with the trend. All right. So as you can see, we have our indication right here, right? Underneath this level. Let's go to 2 hours, see what the 2 hour looks like. Okay, right? So as you guys can see, underneath this level, we are bearish, right? We are in a bearish trend, so we shouldn't have to look too far for context clues. We already getting lower highs. We see that price broke beneath a support level, right? So we know underneath this level we are bearish. We created a new lower low. So what are we going to do? This is our correction. This is our pullback, right? So just to check something out real quick. And as you can see, we're in our OTE zone, which lines up with a support level, right? In a downward trend, you take it from the 1 is at the top, 0 is at the bottom. You wait for price to retrace into our OTE zone, which again, you're not going to just trade off of the OTE. You want it to align with something, right? Right now, it's aligning with the support line. So we know that this is a stronger trade because it overlaps support and our OTE zone. So to me, this is like screaming at me like, yo, bro, this is a fire ass trade. So take it once the correction comes back, right? So what is the correction? The correction is coming back to the spot that it broke, which is this support, turning this into resistance, right? So this is what you guys have to understand, that support turns into resistance and in a downtrend, right? So which we call right now, this is our correction, right? So price is correcting itself, right? Do you guys understand what correction is? Please let me know if correction is something that is hard for you to understand. But again, our indication is price breaking below this level. So we have indication meaning that price may be bearish beneath this box. Our correction is just coming back to the level that we broke, right? Sometimes it may come back to this last level of high, but it will never go above a high, right? A correction should never go above the last lower high, right? It should always come right back down to support that we just broke when the correction is over. Okay, so right now, what is this level? Support, right? Where did we break from? Right here. This is the low that we broke to create another lower low. So let me take this OTE zone off. We know OTE is right here, right? At the support level. So the correction is over. Once it touches this blue box, correction is over. So now what we need to go down and do is find our continuation. So now our continuation is basically the trade that we take. Okay, so this is our continuation. Take this off real quick. So the correction is over. Once we get to this box and price starts to respect it, that is when continuation is over, right? So this is the last high right here, the lower high. That does not need to be broken. If this is broken, why is it doing that? Right? If this last level of high, last lower high is broken, and then we are not in a uptrend anymore, we are in a downtrend, right? So what I like to do is scale down into a lower time frame. Hold on, guys. You have a problem with correction? Alright, I got you. We're gonna go over it multiple times real quick. What the hell is she talking about, bro? Okay, so again, correction is this. This whole thing coming back is correction, right? If this is the last high right here, that is part of correction. This most likely has to be swept in order for price to reverse. Not all the time, right? But for the most part, we want to see a candle close around this level, right? That's the high, right? This black line, right? So we want to see a candle close at this level. Boom, right? We get our touch. So now we know liquidity was just grabbed. So again, it doesn't always have to do that. But correction again is price respecting this line. You see how we're in the 5 minute? Look, you see on the 1 hour, right? This isn't as big. It looks kind of small. And then you get into the 5 minute and it's a bigger box. So we want to see selling pressure get out of this box, right? This is called a no trade zone. All right, when you're in this blue box, this is a no trade zone because you don't know the direction of where it's going, right? Because this is an area where price could say, fuck this, I'm just going higher. Or it's going to turn around, right? So what do? We have to figure out what it wants to do. So how do I figure this out? I wait for selling pressure to happen. Boom. That initial candle right here creates a gap in the market, right? So now we had our high, right? And then what do we get? We get a lower high, which is right here. Lower high, right? So now that is our indication. We swept liquidity, right? We took this liquidity, we create a lower high, right? So now we need to figure out how to get in. Right now we are still in the no trade zone because we're in this blue box and we have a fair value gap right here, which is our resistance right here, right? So what do we need to see? We want to see price break beneath, giving us a sign that it wants to go lower, right? If this is the last level of resistance, right? Why is it resistance, everybody? What did price do? One, two, three. It took three touches before price broke above, right? So again, you can continue to do this, but this right now we don't need. But look, right here was our support. Right here is our resistance, right? Touched one, two, three, four, five. right? So what did price do? Price broke out the top, it standed on top of it, and then we went higher, right? So what we expect if we're going to stay in a uptrend is for price to bounce off of this resistance and then make another higher high, right? So what needs to happen in order for us to take sales is for this level to be broke. Boom, we break this level. So now what we could either do is take the trade off of the break, which is what Psy does. Um, I don't know if I do it that way, but for the most part, I like for price to give me a retest to this level. Sometimes I miss trades because of that, but it's just more of a confirmation for me that this level is gonna hold and that price isn't just gonna bounce off of this support level and then push higher, right? So I want to see more confirmation. So you could take it right off the break, but that's it right there. Price touched this area. So again, I am gonna go in and I'm taking a sell. I'm putting my stop loss up at this high right here, right? And I'm putting my take profit down here at these lows. Once I see price making lower lows, I'm gunning. Yeah, nah, that's it's understandable. Again, that's I used to do it like that, but sometimes I was just getting faked out, so I just waited just for a half a second longer, and then that changed everything, bro. For real, for real. Right? But you see how this was our support, our resistance? Price broke underneath of it, right? So now it's retesting it, right? So now we're outside the no trade zone, right? So now we could enter our trade, right? If we even get one more, okay, you see how we rejected that area, right? So we should still reject that area. All right, so now what are we starting to get, guys? We're starting to get lower high, or yeah, lower highs, right? I think we're still getting lower lows. I'm not about to type it because you guys already know what they are, right? I will draw this out so we know where we entered. We entered right here. We're taking our take profit down at these lows, right? They are the session low. April, what's going on, bro? Right, we have our stop loss up at these highs. So this is a 7RR if we're able to grab it. Again, this is our continuation. Um, so do you guys understand the continuation now or the correction now? Do you understand where it's over at? Did that help you understand that where the correction is over? Again, we're in a downtrend. Price grabbed liquidity at the high and then it broke resistance. Right, this was resistance. This last level right here. Okay, the fib level. The OTE zone, this support level is our fib level. But I'll draw it out one more time so you can see. Take it to the low. Oh, sorry, the other way around. We're in a downtrend, so we take it. Let me go to the 1 hour to get a better reading. Okay, so we take it from this level to this level. Right? From our this is a 1, 2 hour, 3 hour support level right here. Down to our lows. So again, this can be our correction. This is how you also find where price is going to correct that too, is by drawing your fib level, right? So if price starts to retrace, all you do is draw it from where it left to the low point and wait for price to retrace to your fib level. If your fib level is over, like again, if this is a downward trend and your fib level overlaps the support, and then you know you're doing something right. Right, you want your fib level to overlap support, and as you can see, this is 786, 618, so it's overlapping support, so it is this blue box. So I don't need to keep it on my screen, and if we zoom in, you could see, let's change the color so you can, matter of fact, let me just darken it and change the color red so you get to see. Right, as you can see, price rejects off our fib level. Right, it stays right between 618 and 786, so this is our OTE zone, and it doesn't do anything, it stays right inside of it. So again, we would have took our trade in the middle of this, but that's a no trade zone. So we only use the fib level to let us know that it should be a rejection coming, and then we decide to take the trade once our levels get broken. Right? We don't want to take it just off the fib itself. We want to show that we are getting bullish again. Yes, so that is a great question, Santana, is that you definitely want the correction to happen on a higher time frame. But again, it happens on every time frame. Like again, right here, we could have caught it on the 5 minute. You could have caught this on the 5 minute. Right here, price indication, a correction, and then we made our continuation. So you could have called on the 5 minute, but just know it has to play out on a higher time frame. So if you catch it here, don't try and hold it forever. Take your profit and wait for it to come back, and then take the same trade. So you get 2 for 1. Right? I do that all the time. Sometimes I even get 3 for 1. Right? But that is just kind of how you do it. So now, again, what did we wait for, guys? We had a resistance level right here. Price rejected this area, which makes a resistance. Right? So now what do we do? We wait for price to break it. What did price do? Price broke it. It retested it. Once it retests, what do? You take your position, and that's what we did. Put your stop loss at the highs, and then you just let it ride. Right? Don't move your stop loss. Don't move nothing. Just let it play out. Oh shit. Right? Just let it play out and do you. Um, Sometimes I ain't gonna lie, we, which again is a hard thing for me to tell you guys, like where to take profit. You know what I mean? Like, um, because I want to take these Asia lows. Matter of fact, let me make this a little bit more accurate. Right? I want to take these Asia lows. Let's do 5,000. Right? I want to take these Asia lows. Sometimes, since this is a range, that we might bounce off of this range and continue consolidating, right? So just make sure when you're doing and trying to take profit, don't try and target, right, all the way the fuck down here. Like, yo, I want to get these lows down here. Of course we want to get them lows down here, right? But at the end of the day, if price wants to come down here, it's gonna have to break a support level, retest. It's gonna do this all over again, right? It's gonna give us an indication, it's gonna give us a correction, and then we're gonna get a continuation, right? So you could hop in the trend again. But if you try and target the lowest low every single time, most of the time you're gonna get tricked out, right? Most of the time. Because price has to do a lot of gathering of money, right? It's like when you go to church and they come around with the pot, right? They just don't go to like 2 people and then walk away. They come around to the whole motherfucking church to make sure they get every damn penny, right? That's what the market's doing. They're going around to every block, scooping up every dollar they can. So when they have enough money, they can haul ass and you'll never see them again, right? So this is what the market does. The market wants to grab all the money by moving sideways. Because what happens when price moves sideways? People start to get antsy. People start to take random bets or trades. People start to, you know what I mean? People start to do dumb stuff when market moves sideways. Taking buys right here and then taking sells right here. It's like, what are you doing, bro? You know what I mean? So what do we wait for? We don't ever want to take sells at the bottom and then take buys at the top. You want to do the exact opposite in downtrends, right? You don't want to take a sell here. You want to take a sell up here, right? If we're in a uptrend, you want to take a buy down here, and you know what I mean? You don't want to take it up here. So that is all that you wait for. You know we're in a downtrend. Again, I'm going to keep repeating it so it's stuck in your head. You have lower highs. You know we're in a downtrend, right? So this pullback that you're creating right here is only to create the next lower high. That's all that it's doing, right? You guys see that every single time you create a lower high, it's off of a pullback? You guys see that? Look, We make a low, we get a pullback, lower high. We get a low, we get a pullback, lower high. We get a pullback. Where do we get the pullback to? This last breaker block order block right here, and then we go lower, right? But the whole point of me saying that is that we are creating lower highs off of each pullback, right? So that's how you create lower highs. Don't think because we're pulling back for fucking, this was whole Asian session into New York, right? Or whole New York session into Asia. Just because we're doing a correction for that long, doesn't mean we're bullish, right? Just because we see, oh, bro, but we just broke a high. Okay, that's internal structure. It means nothing. So a correction doesn't break a support and a resistance to the downside. Yes. So again, if we're in a downtrend, price should never break this support level, which now is resistance, right? So again, I could show you real quick on a uptrend, right? But right here, right? So price is consolidating in this level right here. We have our resistance at the top. We have our support at the bottom, right? So what we want is our indication, right? We make our initial high. Price makes a lower high, so that's giving me clues that price is going to come back down because we create a lower high. So we wait for price to come back down to this level, right, which is our resistance, as you guys can see. Once it touches our resistance and we start to get buying pressure back above, so what's buying pressure, right? If this is right here is support, why is it support, everybody? Price touched it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It touches 7 times. So now once price breaks beneath it, coming to this level, I want to look for buys because you start to see that buys are going, that we're getting pressure to go higher. So once we get above this level, um, yes, I'm in shorts on gold right now, yes, but not in NQ. This is just a back test. But you see how we broke above this level? The minute we break above this level, I'm taking my entry, putting the stop loss below the lows, and then again we are going to aim, we don't have any data for because we're in all-time highs, but as you guys can see, we would have got 4RR, 5RR, some shit like that. Should I buy or sell NQ? Sheesh, bro, I don't even think it's a good time to trade. You're in the beginning of Asian session, bro. Just chill out and wait like another 2 hours. We are literally, let me see something. What's the date today? The 18th? Okay. Yeah, like the volume is 62 for this candle. That's nothing, right? Let's just wait till volume picks up. MQ is not a good time to be trading anyway during Asian session, right? Nobody's buying NQ during Asian session, right? So let's just get back to this back test, right? And as you guys can see, we may bounce off of this level, right? We may bounce off of this level, but at the end of the day, we can either take our profit at this level, which is a great idea to do, which again would have been what, $3,000, but I still have that tuition that we are going for these lows, and I think we're not going to take the full low. I think we're going to get half of this candle. So I am putting it at 5K just to be on the safe side, right? And you see why? Because this is the candle wick. Sometimes we don't grab the full thing, so we take half of it. So we normally grab here, or I like to grab like right here. Sometimes price likes to reverse at that area, right? So we're just going to be on the safe side and take it halfway, right? So let me take this off, guys, because this is just in my way, right? So as you guys can see, why do we take this sell, right? We took this sell. Let me put the arrow so you guys can see, right? We took our sell. That is big as hell. Um, We took our sell right here. Right? So, oh, pardon me. No, we didn't. We took our sell right here. Right? Price came here. It retested our resistance. Right? Remember? So now we're underneath our resistance level. So we should be bearish. We should be making lower highs this entire time. And that's exactly what we're getting, right? So now we are getting a slight pullback, which is not a problem. We just got to be careful that we just don't get stuck in a range and that price decides to become bullish because of the momentum that it's grabbing, depending on what time of the day it is, all that type of thing. So identify your liquidity pool, right? So as you can see, this is New York session, right? We have our liquidity being grabbed and then we ran away. So if it grabbed the highs, I'm expecting it to grab the lows of that session as well. So I would hold on to my position, right? So we're going to find out if it pays off, right? And as you guys can see, we are still getting lower highs, right? So we are still in a decent trade, right? Sheesh. That wick right there, I do not like whatsoever because it literally just stops right at our low, and I don't know if that is liquidity being grabbed or not. So we're just gonna play it out and hope that it wasn't. So basically, what I like to do is just continue with basically just continue with what the trend is doing for us already, right? So if we know that support has to reject a certain level, I still want that to happen on a lower time frame. Right, so this is our support level right here. So I still want to see this be rejected. Right, and as you can see, we reject it. Right, so that's how you guys get in on a trend. Right, once price starts to consolidate and then break through support, we want price to come back to it. So in a lower time frame, it's just the same shit. Right, this is breaking beneath this level, so we have our indication. Right, the reason why I'm picking this level is because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We have almost 6 touches here. Again, it doesn't always have to be the bottom, guys, right? I like to do it if we go to a lower time frame. You will see that these are just wicks on like the 1 minute, right? So I like to do it where it's multiple touches instead of like just two. Because if I do it right here, there's only 1, 2 touches, and then it throws you off because you say, "Oh, it broke above." So I like to do it at areas where there's almost like right here, right here, right here, right here. So these is 5, 6 touches all in this area right here, right? 1, 2, 3, almost 4, 5, 6, 7, right? You see there's more touches right here. Look, I'm gonna go down to the 1 minute so you guys get the better understanding. You see what I mean? Look at this support, right? Price breaks below it, but it says nah, and it gets back on top, right? So what to do? Price breaks underneath of it, giving us our first indication. We get our correction. Price, again, this is our resistance right here on a lower scale. Well, yeah, just one day at a time, bro. That's all you can do. Right? So what did price do? Price, we made a resistance level right here, right? Because we have, price ended up going sideways. Anytime price goes sideways and then goes higher, that's a resistance, right? So we broke below it, came back to it, and we take our entry here if you wanted to get in the trade late, you know what I mean? So that is how I do it. If I ever want to get into a trade, I just wait for price to pull back to the level, which is our support in a downtrend, and then you take your sell back down to the low. Again, we are going to try and target these lows, but we will see. We might only get this low, to be honest, but we shall see. You see, bro? Oh my god, it's so crazy. Like, look at this. If I draw this line, look, look. We literally grabbed liquidity. I was only 1 point off. So, right now we're in profit $4,000. I was trying to get 5K, and we may not even get it, bro. That is the hard part, is because you don't know. Like for me, I don't know if I should hold this trade or if I should, you know what I mean, let it run. You know what I mean? So that is why it is hard sometimes when it comes to trading, is because it's like, what do I do, bro? Do I just let fucking price come out and take my low, or am I just gonna allow it, or am I gonna take profit early? You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times I would take profit early. If I had this right here and price came back up and I was almost at fucking $5,000 and price turns around and back at 4,000, I'm most likely to take my 4K, right? Because nothing is guaranteed in the market. But that's also how you leave money on the table, because price could just slam, because we are getting a correction to make what, another lower high. So we still may get our, you know, our we might still get it, right? So I want to be ambitious and really go for it. But yeah, we're just gonna go for it. Fuck it. We don't have nothing to lose. All right, this is how you learn. But still, we are still creating lower lows, right? There's nothing letting us know we are bullish, right? So for me, in order for us to be bullish, or for price to go and not in our favor, we have to break above this high. So I'm gonna put my stop loss here, hoping that we don't get stopped out. Right? I want price to respect our levels. No, don't stop us out. Yes, it didn't stop us out. Come grab this low, baby. No. So now make it higher low. So that is not a good sign at all. Um, we definitely do want price to come and make our lower low. But we're just gonna hold, I guess. Um, and really, I don't know. I don't like this. Fuck it. We're just gonna ride it out. Alright, so as you guys can see, it's still respecting this level, which is a good sign. But now we are respecting that level, and I don't want to get stopped out. But now, oh shit, we got stopped out. But I think this was the liquidity sweep right here. But again, I'm gonna go to a higher time frame and see if we can get back in and see what happened, right? So, dang, look at that shit, bro. That's crazy. We are still in a downtrend, guys. So I personally would love to hop back in, and the only way I could do that, let's see. Let's see if we could get back in. Oh my god, did it really just do that? Yo, it really just did it. The next candle. This was it right here. Look. That's so crazy. Look. It literally just did it. It took where our take profit was right here. That's so crazy. That's why I don't move my stop loss. And I literally, if you go look at my trade right now, my stop, I'm up in profit. Let's see. What? Oh my god. Holy shit. Bro, gold just dumped, bro. 134K. Yo, 150. Gold is dumping right now, bro. What the fuck? I was just at like 34K, bro. Yo, that's crazy. 335 333554. So my entry right now, where the fuck is my entry at? Let's go to the 15 minute. 333. Why is this looking so weird? What the fuck? Nah, what the hell's going on, bro? Why is this not? Hold on, yo, something is off right now. Yeah, I don't like moving any of my stop losses or my TPs, but something is going on my charts right now. This is not right. Why is my data off right now? Three 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 four. It says I entered right here. There's no way. 3335. There's no way I entered right here. Okay, I took my position, guys. Let's go to the 15. Okay, so I have 3 positions in. I have my first one right here. Hold on, where the hell is it at? Yeah, my first position, or my last position was right here. My first position was right here. I mean, my second position was right here. And then my first position was off of this pullback right here. All right, so as you can see, I'm gonna tell you why I took this trade. Right, is that we are in a downtrend. Right, in the Discord, we were counting this as our indication, and then I got to looking on the higher time frame because we were like, oh, anything above this level, we're bullish, and then we will get back to this level and we're looking for buys, and then I held off. I said, hold on, let me go back to the higher time frame. So I realized that we were wrong. Right, so we're in a downtrend. Right, and the reason I'm saying this is because this is where price broke from. Right, we have our support level. Price broke it. So this is our indication. We made a correction and then we fell, right? So, and we make a lower low. So I'm like, we must be in a downtrend. So what did I do? I said, let me draw out this level, right? So I drew this level out. And the reason why, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know what I mean? We were 12 hours of touching. Yeah, I don't. The gold is going crazy. Gold just grabbed so much. Gold grabbed liquidity. That's what it just did, and it was fucking 2 points away from my take profit, bro. So gold is about to go on the run. Honestly, I think gold is going higher. I took out at 157, but that is crazy, bro. Gold is fucking moving right now, bro. But so this is what I'm trying to say, guys, is that we were looking at it all wrong. So what I did was instead of looking at this as this was a temporary correction, right? This was our indication. This was our correction. I end up taking buys back up to our correction because I was looking at the charts wrong. Once price got up here and it started to come lower, that is when I seen that we were wrong and that we're in a downtrend and that we should be looking for sells, right? Because again, if we zoom out, what are we getting? We have our high, right? And then what do we get? We get a lower high. So I'm like, ooh, I almost just fucked up and took a big position in the wrong direction, and I would have been stopped out, as you guys can see. So I'm like, oh shit, let me take a sell off of this area. So what did I do? I waited for price to give me confirmation, right? If this area is our gray box, so if this is bullish, it has to go above this box. But we didn't, right? right? We stayed beneath of it. So what did I wait for? I waited for price to reject this area, and then once it gave me a lower low, I waited for the inverse, right? Which again is not something that I teach, but it's just something that I may use for now and then. And an inverse is basically when a fair value gap right here gets inversed, right? So price is supposed to, right, as a fair value gap, price supposed to come up, it's supposed to bounce off of this and continue higher. So as price did not do that and it inversed it, meaning ran right through it, once the candle closed through the fair value gap, I took my trade. And as you can see, it paid off, right? And then I end up taking off the next pullback, and I'm going to show you why. Where's our resistance level? Right here, right? Right here. Why is it doing that? I don't want that. I want this. Right? So if this is resistance, price stopped here. It stopped here. 1, 2, 3. So we had 5 touches right here. So once price pulled back right here and it showed me it respected this level, and then it created a lower high, which is right, what did I show you guys? Which is right here. This is our high. These are equal highs. It created one lower. Once it came back up and touched this area, I took my entry right there. Boom, right? So again, all I did was the same shit. This is my support level right here. Right? Price touched it how many times? Multiple, right? Once price broke beneath of it, creating a lower low, and it came back to this level, I realized that this was just a supply zone, and that we're most likely going to go lower. So I waited because price respected this level, right? So price broke beneath it, giving us our indication. It gave us our correction. I took my entry again, and as you can see, we had a pretty nice fall. Right? So this is where we are right now. So these are my 3 entries, and now look where we're at, right? I believe that we are probably going to go down to this level here. If we don't, we are only going to go to this level, and I feel like that's why we rejected this. And why did I pick this level? Look, support, right? This is a massive support level, right? We broke beneath of it, and then price could get back on top of it, and then we could go higher from here, because I guarantee that this level is a fib level. And as you can see, it's a fib level to the fucking T. Bro, you have ICC flowing in your veins. Side, oh, for real? That's what's up. That's what's up. I really, again, Eurostone replays, yes. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that does feel good, Millionaire, because I have watched a lot of his videos, and every time he posts something about the trade that he took, I literally post in my Discord all the time. I'm like, yo, Sai took a trade that I just took at the same exact area, right? So, it is cool to see that when Sai takes the same exact trade that I take, or when I take the same exact trade that he takes, since it's his trading system. Um, that I do like that, because it makes me feel like I know what I'm doing when it comes to ICC, even though you guys see the results. But at the end of the day, it's not my strategy, and I've only been using it for like the last 2 months. So when I'm taking the same, like literally, I can show you, I've taken the same entry almost at the same exact time that he takes majority of his trades in like the last 2 months. And I'm like, because he posted on his Instagram, and I'm like, damn, I caught the same trade he took. That's awesome. Why am I not getting? Why is this delayed or something, bro? Right? Oh, I'm in replay? Hold on. Yeah, okay, here it is. Look, look, what I just say? We got a reaction off of the end. That's crazy, bro. That is crazy. That is so crazy. How the look? I literally just told you guys we're gonna get reaction off the 786, which is right here. Look, my take profit. Oh my god! Luckily I closed this position. Let me take everything off this chart real quick, guys. Yeah, that is That is what you have to understand. And with ICC is levels. If you don't understand levels, it's gonna be hard, bro. But just remember, the levels are almost the easiest thing to do. Look, right? It's where price has touched multiple times, right? And then these are just called key levels because they're your lowest point, right? So these are called key levels, right? And then this would be our support level, right? Is holding price up just because price went below it and then it holds price up again, right? So this is our support level, right? And then if we go down to like a lower time frame, the 15-minute, you get to see, look, support, right? You get to see support. So now where's our resistance? It's at the same thing, right? Where price has touched multiple times, but never broke above, right? It touches multiple times. We even have support right here, right? So support can turn into resistance, and as you guys can see, right, price broke above, turning it back into support, and then what did it do? It broke below, right? So, damn, gold is running, bro. Holy shit. Right? And as you guys can see, it literally swept the 17th. What day is that? Sunday. It took Sunday's lows, right? If we take this off, you will draw a line, right? And that's why, again, I tell you guys, damn, bro, gold is going crazy right now. That's why I tell you guys to never target the wicks because as you can see, look, if you were, again, I was targeting the wick. Luckily, I closed my position early. But look what happened. It literally took the candle wick theory, which is halfway point of the candle. There's a candle right there, right? It took the halfway point of this candle, and then it went higher. Oh my God, bro, gold is running. Holy shite. Okay, this is resistance though. So this could be our indication. This could be our correction. This could be a good time to sell. No, I wouldn't do it yet. We did make a lower low, right? I would like to see, dang, that's the hard. Okay, so again, for me, we create a higher high, we create a lower low, right? That is throwing off balance, right? You either create a, hold on, let me just look at it a little bit better. Right, so we still have lows, right? We are still creating lower lows, right? Let me go to the 4 hour real quick. As you can see in the 4 hour, this is no pressure in the 4 hour whatsoever. 618, 786 overlaps with this level. Yeah, honestly, this is, wait for, yeah, I don't know if this is just a fake out. I don't know. I'm not looking for buys, bro, honestly. Only because we still in a downtrend. We just created a lower low. This could be correction. Again, this is a support level right or a resistance level right here. And then we are getting hemmed up right now. So I want to see what this level does. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't have enough data for us to, right, there's, if you again, if you guys can see, look, where are, this is the, look at this 4 hour candle and then look at this 4 hour candle, right? So look at the volume on these two candles, right? There is no volume, which again, lack of volume is almost what we call manipulation. And I can show you why. Watch this. You're gonna be like, what the hell? Look at this. Let's see. Look at this candle. Right? Look how little this candle is. Look how little. Look how big this volume is right here. Right? It stops right here. Look how much bigger this candle is, and look at the volume. Right? This candle is bigger than this candle, but this candle got more volume than this candle. So that is a sign of reversal, right? So when you see things like that, for me, I already are anticipating that we are going to be in a downtrend based off of the volume itself, right? Let's see if I can show you another one. Where's the reversal? Okay, right here is a reversal. This candle is bigger than that candle. Nope, it doesn't show right there. Okay, sometimes it shows, sometimes it doesn't, but it is good to understand what volume is, right? When you have a bigger candle and there's more volume in the smaller candle, which it is right here, right? This is this candle right here. Look at this wick. Look at this volume. It stops right here. It's a bigger candle. This candle is smaller than this candle, but it has more volume. So this is what we call a fake out, and we get a nice reversal off of this. You know what I mean? It just helps you identify, what's going on. So that is how, again, I look at certain things. I say, okay, well, this volume of this candle was smaller than this one, and I am expecting this next candle to continue on our downtrend. Now, if this candle had less volume, and then it would continue on the upward trend. But since it has more volume than this bigger candle, and then that is just called a fake out, and then this candle right here was basically our correction, and it was, as you guys can see. Price came back to our support level right here. Well, yeah, our support, it retested it, and then we ended up going lower, creating a lower low. Right? So as you guys can see, look at this downtrend real quick. Right? Super easy market structure, right? We have our lower highs, and we have our lower lows. Right? You guys see that? And then what happens? If this is our resistance level right here, matter of fact, we don't have to use that level because it gives us a level. Right? It already has this is our level, right? So price broke beneath of it, came back up, retested this level, right? We want to see this level be broken, which it does. So now we have a first indication that price is bullish. Once price broke above the next level of the lower highs, which is right here, right? Now price broke above it. So now price stands on top of it, and then now we're bullish. And as you can see, we're very bullish, right? So what is going on right now, guys? And we're in a 4-hour time frame, right? We are still getting lower highs, right? And we are still getting lower lows. So we are technically not in an uptrend on the higher time frame, right? So what do we need to do? We need to wait to see the direction of the market before you even get in. Just because we have a nice push to the upside means jack shit, right? What's accumulation, manipulation, and distribution? This could be our accumulation. we could be manipulated, and then we could distribute, right? Normally, again, this would be our accumulation, sideways movement. Normally, we have our manipulation because price goes down, faking sellers out, and then we have our distribution, which would push us higher, right? So that is, again, what we should be looking for. I would hope that price would stay above this level. So again, if price does stay above this level and bounces off of it, let's see real quick. So this is our support. So again, this might be a better level to look at just because it aligns with our OTE zone, right? It's our resistance. Pardon me, our support level that overlines with our OTE, right? So there are two things that I'm looking for when it comes to this trade. I either want this level to be respected. Let me take all these other boxes off so you guys can see. Right? I want to see this level be respected. Once we get pressure off of this level, and then we start to do this, and then I want to see this level be broken. Once we break this level, this is my indication. This will be my correction. Right? Let's do this one more time. Once we come down to this level, because I know we're going to retest this level, we're probably going to get stuck right here for a little bit, and then we'll break out the top. So now this is giving my indication because we broke our highs, breaking resistance. So now what I would hope for is for price to create a lower high, right, and then work its way back down. Once it works its way back down, I don't want it to go lower than this blue box, and then I want to see buying pressure. Once we get some buying pressure, I want to go long and go and touch these next level of highs. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to take anything until we get above this level, because anything below anything in this could just turn into more chop. Right? We're not 100% positive of the direction of the market yet. Look at all this volume though. That is good for Asian session. Holy shit. It's almost as high as New York session. Look at that. It is literally 10 o'clock is the only bar that is above this session. Alright, we have a couple ones. Our scalp 200. Yeah, again, if you're gonna do, you could get off a little, but again, I don't think we're gonna rock it off of this. Right? We did create a minor support on the 1 minute, but we created a liquidity pool, which I'm gonna draw this line and see what we just grabbed. So we're gonna come over here and find out. So we just grabbed all session highs. Right? So we have Monday. Where are we at? Monday, right? Yeah. So we just grabbed New York AM. Pardon me, New York PM, New York AM. Yeah, we grabbed all. Hold on, let me go to a higher time frame because yeah, okay. So the 30-minute, yeah, we just grabbed all of these highs. So we did grab liquidity, and look what we're stopped right into. Look at this fair value gap. That was unmitigated. Right? So price most likely is going to reject off this FVG. Right? If it breaks above this FVG, that would be awesome. You might listen, you might, but I wouldn't. I'm not expecting price to go higher. I honestly believe. Again, let's draw our fib level from the opposite side. Right, we are touching 618 right now, which it touched. Hold on, let me draw it from the because I'm in a higher time frame. Right, we just touched 618, which again, this box right here, just because it's OTE zone, right, doesn't mean it has to touch the middle or the 618 or the 786. All it has to do is poke 618 level, which I used to take my trades only off 618 until I started to get into the OTE, right? So it is best for it to wait to get into the level, but sometimes it may reject just off of one. Yeah, so at the end of the day, listen, if you're up 250, what I would do, just to be on the safe side, is maybe put your stop loss below the support level right here, just in case we do get some more momentum that you could get these, you could get more money. But at least put it below the support level. If price breaks below the support level, we are most likely going to just go into chop. I think, and you got to understand, there are only certain times of the day that market rallies, right? These are called impulses, right? So there's only a certain time of day that market impulses, right? As you can see, look at this long ass candle. It's at 8:30 at night. Look at this long ass candle. It was at 8 o'clock at night, right? Um, Look at this long candle. This was 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So we have impulses. What time was this? 12 p.m. All right, these are called impulses. When you have a long energetic move, is an impulse, right? This was 3:30 at night, right? What did the price do? It came back to this level. It rejected it, and then we make a lower low, right? So what did price do? Price came back up to our level. What did we do? We rejected it, and then we made a lower low. So I'm expecting for price to come up to this level. Maybe not this level. I would hope that maybe like this level, reject this level, and then we may go lower. But at the end of the day, we don't know. So we don't not gonna guess. All we're gonna do is follow what the strategy tells us to follow, right? Yeah, I honestly don't see us going higher, guys. It just looks too nice. Like like we don't have any data yet from it. Yeah, you took profit, all right. But yeah, we just don't have any data yet for a nice trade, right? That is the one thing that you guys are gonna learn about me is I want the full data in front of me. I'm not sitting here trying to take trades where it is misunderstood. Right? If you don't know the direction of the market and you don't know if this is a level, and then don't take the trade. Wait until you understand what levels are and how to anticipate and trade them. As you can see, this is a fair value gap and a higher time frame. Price literally touched it and then said, nah, I don't want nothing to do with this shit. Right? So this could have been a hedge fund move. So let's go to the DXY and see what's going on. So this is the dollar index. Gold normally goes the opposite of what the dollar is doing. So if the dollar is falling, gold would normally run higher. If the dollar is moving higher, gold normally goes lower. And as you can see, which is throwing me off, is price is consolidating on DXY. It's not even moving. So this just could be a false flag, bro. Real quick, NQ is setting up right now for some longs. NQ is setting up for some longs. I mean, my fault, bro. I just fucked that up. NQ is setting up for some shorts. We might have just fucking missed it, bro. Holy hell, I'm so mad. We literally think I just missed this trade. We could still get a correction. If we get a correction, bro, NQ is gonna fucking drop down to these lows. What we need is a correction. If I could get a correction back to this support level right here, it may be a good sell. Take it from here back down to these lows. Not a bad sell. As you can see, guys, in the 30-minute time frame, what are we creating? Lower lows and lower highs, right? What did price do? Corrected itself, respected this level, And then now we're getting momentum lower, right? But let's go back to gold for a second. Let's go down to the 1 minute. Okay, so we had our impulse, which was what we started at 8 o'clock and it ended at 8:15. So we had our, let me go back to gold real quick. So our impulse was right here. No, where's 8 o'clock? Yeah, that's so weird, bro. For gold? Nah, bro, something is off, bro. I don't like that. Look, let's go to the 5 minutes, so it's just one candle, or the 15 minutes, so it's one candle. Look, our impulse was at 8 o'clock p.m. on the dot. 8:15 is where it ended. DXY at 8 o'clock came down, and look how little this move was, right? That is not, that is shady, right? And normally, if gold does a big ass move, DXY follows. For this to be a little ass move inside of consolidation, right? And gold, I mean, and DXY is in a uptrend, right? Yeah, I would take sales off of this shit, bro. I'm not looking at this. Looks to me like we should be going higher off of DXY. If DXY creates a higher high, bounces off of this to go higher, gold is going to do the exact opposite. Gold is going to go lower. So I would like to see what DXY does before I take a trade. Make sure that the dollar index breaks out of the direction. If it goes lower, and then we are fucking in for buys. But if it doesn't, we may be in for sells. Right, we have our highs. We have liquidity grab right here. We create lower high. We start to get EMA crossover. Right, so it is looking right now that that DXY is gonna go lower. Right, but I just don't know if it's gonna go below this low. Right, so for the meantime, if DXY continues to creep down another, 100 points, you could probably get another. See, that's at the top of the FBG. It's not even worth it right now. Honestly, I would like to wait till London session or like 12 o'clock, right? I need some more time. I need more data. There's not enough data for us to get, right? Look, below this level, oh shit, let me just delete that, right? We are bearish, right? Below this level, we are bearish. Price should be coming back for our indication, right? This is an indication move. Do you guys see why or no? Matter of fact, this is why it is. This is why I love trading. Let me look at previous data real quick, just to make some. Okay, so look at this real quick. No, that's not going lower. Hold on. Um, I'm trying to find the formation that we're in right now because we have a higher high and a lower low, which I mean a higher high. Yeah, hold on. Right, we have a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, a higher high. Right, so now that throws off the pattern. right? You should be getting a lower high and not a higher high after a lower low. Right, yeah, so this FVG right here, I think is going to be our pushback to create some momentum. We have liquidity taking lows. Where's Asia Open? Or New York Open? So did we just grab New York Open? If we just grab New York Open, we are going lower. Is this New York Open? Where's New York Open? Dang, this is New York Open right here. Alright, we just grabbed all of New York session low. Yeah, guys, we might be going to get this high. I think we're gonna consolidate. I think we are in. I think we're about to accumulate before we go higher because DXY. No, look, see, DXY is going higher, bro. DXY just broke this level. We're about to create another higher high. DXY is going higher, so gold is going lower, as you guys can see, right? But we just need to figure out how much higher is DXY going to come back up to this level and break it, right? So that is why again we need more confirmation, right? There's no way in hell you should be taking trades right now. There's nothing letting you know the direction. If you're taking trades right now, so gold and gold and DXY. So it's the dollar. DXY is just the US dollar, and gold is gold, right? So XAU USD, right? So gold, this is what it means. When you're doing US pairs, right? If you're trading forex, that means you're trading gold, right? You're trading gold against the dollar. So if the gold is going up, that means the dollar is going down, right? That's all that this means. Like if you go to liquid brokers, it would tell you when you hit buy, it says buy gold, but if you hit sell, it says sell US dollar. You see what I'm saying? So that is kind of what this means. It means that you're either going to buy gold or you're going to sell the dollar. So if you're looking at the dollar, right, this means the dollar is going up, so gold should be going down, right? Which it is right now, right? If you look again, look at this uptrend, right? We are in a nice uptrend. Now look at gold. We are in a nice downtrend. You see what I'm saying? It's the exact opposite. It has to be because at support on gold, let's see. Yeah, we're at a support level right now, right? So, oh, pardon me. We're at support. We did grab liquidity. We did touch again. This is what I like to do is see where previous times price has rejected. And as you can see, price rejected here, it rejected here, and it broke above and stopped right here to push higher. So I like this as an area. And as you can see, if we draw it out, so did price. Price came right to this area, touched it, and said, nah, I don't fuck with this. And we went lower, right? So just remember, I was down 1,600 on this one. Now I'm up 7. That's what's up, bro. I was literally in the same boat. I took a trade. I wanted to take fucking 3 minis on a trade, and 3 micros. And guess what I did? I took 3 minis instead. So I was down. The minute I took the trade, price started moving. I was down like $800, and then I closed the position. And then guess what I did again? I clicked gold minis, and somehow I guess I went to the next tab up here, and I accidentally went right back to minis again, and I took the same fucking trade, and I went down like 1,900 on this funded account, and I just made like $1,000 back, and then I hit for like 500. So now I'm like basically back at break even, but I almost blew my funded account because it was on my phone or some shit, and I was just rushing. I always do some bullshit, bro. Always, always. It never fails me. But yeah, so we are retesting and we are hitting into this FVG right now, right? So I would like to see this to be held. If this level holds, that would be great. Only for some type of buying pressure. But again, I'm not looking for no buys, only because we are still in a bearish trend. Price rejected this level. Let me go back to XAU USD because I'd like to how we draw it out already. Right, we have already just rejected this level, which was support and resistance at one point. Right, resistance, turned it into support, broke beneath of it, turned it back into resistance, turned it back into support. Right, we just keep having problems with this area. We broke beneath it, we tested it, we're lower. We just tested it again, now we're lower, right? So we keep having problems with this area. So, um, so yeah, I want to see this happen. I want to see price just continue within. If price makes this a support level and it holds pretty strong, and then we can have indication that we may be going higher. But right, if price does not do that, this is what's going to happen. Price is going to get back underneath, and then it's going to start doing this, right? And then we're going to go lower, right? So that are the only two things that I see happening. It's either price gets underneath this, turning it back into resistance. Once it does, we take our sell and we put our stop loss above these highs. I swear. Right, so that is kind of what I would be looking for and what I hope, because if this is what happens, and then we will be coming to take these lows, and we will be coming to take more lows, right? Remember in our back test that we were coming to take the lows, but what happened? Price retraded, taking our stop loss, and then it went and took them lows out, right? So this just could have been a liquidity grab to grab all of these sellers to basically fill market orders, right? To fill brokers and liquidity providers to fill their orders, right? Because if I take this off and we go to a higher time frame, what do we have here? Indication, correction, and then we could have our continuation to make a lower low, right? So this is kind of what I would be looking for. The risk 500 to make to make 1200 is not a bad trade whatsoever, and it gives us a nice 3R. Um, it's not a bad sell, but again, we would need some type of confirmation. Is this a inverse fair value gap? It almost is. Once price inverses this fair value gap, again, that's most people take trades off of that alone, bro. I don't know how, but I can't do some shit like that. Literally, they take it off of the inverse. So right now, they're taking the trade. But to me, that's so fucking risky. Because price could just bounce right here and go higher. Right? This is our support. So yeah, so again, at the end of the day, we are just gonna wait for two options. Where the price break this level, retest this level, right? Take it off of the bounce to another lower low, right? Or if price decides to respect, right? We want to see price stay within this level, right? Creating more chop, and then we take our buy at this level to get higher highs, right? Break above, and we look for longs, but they are the only two options. But like you said, yeah, if you have a 3 RR, bro, it's almost very and hard for you to not become profitable, right? Very. As long as you are consistently being accurate with your trades. That is it. Just be accurate with your trades, be disciplined, and have patience. If you're rushing, you're just gonna get smacked. You know what I mean? You're just gonna be sitting there mad at yourself because you're not following your rules or your strategy. So make sure again you're gonna go to a higher time frame, right? You're gonna pinpoint your highs and your lows. Once you pinpoint your highs and your lows, all you're going to do is wait for price to create a zone. Once price does that, we wait for it to retrace to our levels, and then we take our sell or our buy. In this case, we were in a downtrend. This is our indication. This is our correction. And then we have our continuation. I'm so mad. On my funded account, I took this trade right here, and I got out like right here. No, I got out right here. At this low right here, I got out. If I'd have just held this position, bro, oh my god, my payout would have been max payout. I'm very upset at myself because I knew where price was going. I don't know, my funded accounts for some reason, because of the trailing with Apex, I got the trailing drawdown. So I could be like, this is what sucks about Apex, and this is why I'll never use them again. Is that let's say you're up $1,000 in profit. What did you focus on necessarily to get your market view? Market structure and ICC. I will be creating a course where you can watch my YouTube videos to learn ICC. I will be dropping the video, I'm going to say tomorrow. I'm not going to say tonight because I'm going to hopefully finish it tonight. But I will be dropping how to understand ICC, which will be a full course on YouTube for free. But just watch my videos and they should help you get a not a general, a fucking advanced understanding of the market. It's going to allow you to see things that most people do not see and allow you to catch trades consistently without putting a lot of risk on the table, right? In order to become a successful trader, you have to understand how to manage risk because that is the only thing that you can control in the market is how much money you're able to risk, right? You're never going to know how much money you're going to make, right? You never know the direction 100%. The only thing that you're 100% is how much money you're able to lose, right? I know every time I take a trade, I'm going to lose on my funded accounts. I'm going to lose $500 every single time I take a trade, right? So that is a fixed um, a fixed variable, right? That's something that's not going to change, right? So if you could understand how to keep your risk at a fixed variable that fits your trading style, and then you should have no problem once you find the edge in the market that allows you to see price or allows you to see price action in a better scope. So that is kind of what um, yeah, so that's kind of what you need to look at, right? Understand market structure. Market structure is very easy. Lou, do you know what market structure is? Do you know what price action is? Do you know what higher highs and higher lows are? Right? Because that is the basics, and that is something that you need to understand when it comes to trading in all. If you don't know market structure, it is going to be very hard for you to become a good trader, right? Rejected that support level. Look, price, look at this. Price on DXY is about to go higher. It's breaking support and breaking resistance. So we should be getting a inverse reaction on gold. We should be going lower. So let's get down to a lower time frame and see. But as you guys can see, we are underneath this level now, right? We are underneath of it. So it, even though it is late, right now you're the halfway of an inverse FVG. If price respects this inverse, bro, you could take a sell here, put your stop loss at the top of this inverse, and that's like a medium risk trade right here. But the reward could be pretty high, right? Because we would not expect this price to be inversed again. If it does, and then it's just, probability. But at the end of the day, normally when this happens, a inverse FVG off of this level, breaking beneath of it, it's most likely not want to go higher. I'm not saying it can't go higher, right? So this is almost a 6R. Like like I said, this is not my model. This is not how I trade, but it's like it's so tempting to me to take this. And I hope that it fucking stops me out. Or not even, I hope it just shit it's out of yeah, I hope it just doesn't even respect this so I know basically to stay away from trades like this. But it just looks so clean, bro. It looks so clean. Like this is literally a TJR trades. Literally. He waits for an inverse FVG and he takes the inverse. He waits for a price to tap back into the inverse and then he takes his sell. That's literally how he trades. You also gotta remember is that each session sometimes does not respect price action the way that we want it to, right? London session, New York session respect the price action for ICC. I'm not saying that it doesn't for London, I mean for Asian session. It's just that sometimes you may get some like some wrenches thrown in there, right? It may just sometimes it may just happen, um, and kind of mess you up, right? Because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of people trading Asian sessions, so if they need liquidity, they have to throw price off. So if you remember anything about the market, is that they would drive price in one direction to fake you out so they could sell in the opposite direction and then basically hit all your stop losses so they could be filled in, right? So they could say, hey, everybody's in a downtrend, everybody's selling. I need orders. So let's take a big buy now, push his price higher, so when all of these stop losses get hit, they could fill my limit orders that we put right here. And then they drive price back down because they know that London session is going to come in here and say, hey, let's look at the higher time frame. We're in a downtrend, right? So if London and New York session, right, which is right here, took their positions right here, right? Do you think they want to sell it here? No. They want max profit, right? So if Asian session pushes this back up, who's going to push it back down? London, right? London's going to push this shit back down, and they do, right? So who's going to push it back up to make more liquidity? Asia, right? Asia's going to push this shit back up, maybe to this level right here to grab more liquidity, and then guess who's going to drive price down? London, and London's going to come and attack maybe these lows or attack lower lows, right? So that's how the market works. The market has to grab liquidity from people, and you don't think, and you guys understand that banks are going against each other, right? They are not necessarily partnering up with each other. They want to have confusion within themselves because if a big time trader, 40,000, 50,000 lots or 50,000 contracts, if they get fooled, that's 50, 40,000 positions that are called open interest and that are put back onto the market for brokers and liquidity providers. So that allows for more liquidity and more fast, rapid response when it comes to trading, meaning fast, energetic moves like this move right here. Look how big this candle is. Super fast, super, you know what I mean? Super clean. One stroke, right? So as you can see, how did this happen? What created this big push, right? We have accumulation right here. Price is moving sideways, right? People think we're going up because we are in an upward trend for like 2 days. And then price grabs all the liquidity that was hanging right here from all of the buyers, right? So now buyers are hopping back in because they think they're going to rally. And then what does it do? It comes down, taking majority of um of liquidity again, and then we get that push, right? So for the people that don't understand trading, this is what we call a manipulated move, and it is basically to drive price in a direction to be able to manipulate to grab orders and push it back in the direction that they were intended for it to go. So that is kind of the market moves, is all manipulation moves, is the big cut guys battling each other, right? They are the only ones that can move the market. Us retail guys only account for 5% of the market. So nothing that we do matters. We are like a fly on the back of the fucking horse's back, right? You're not you're not making a dent in the market, right? So all we can do is hop on the trend, right? And any time that if this is the downtrend, anywhere that you took a sell, you could have took a sell right here. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, right? You could have took a sell anywhere. You could have took a sell right here and you're still in profit, right? You could have took a sell right here and you're still in profit, right? So when you're in a downtrend, as long as you are not over leveraging, you could sell anywhere and be in profit if you're going with the trend, right? If you're an uptrend, it's the same thing. You could buy anywhere, right? If this is our uptrend, right? You could buy anywhere in this and still be in profit as long as you're not over leveraging by using one mini, right? Maybe use one or two micros so you could get that long-term play, right? That is what I have started to do with my funded accounts because I used to just go like three micros or three minis and get like four or five, get like 10, 15 points. And what's okay if I do three minis, $20 per tick. So a $5 move is $1,000. No, 4,000. No, hold on, I'm bugging. Let me do something real quick. Gold, futures. Let's do a trade, take profit. Okay, so if we're at 78 to 78 plus 87, which is a $10 move, you make $2,000, right? Almost $3,000. 870 or 88. Yeah, you make $3,000 and a $10 move with three minis, right? So that's how I normally trade, is by taking from here to here, or vice versa from here to here, right? So this is how I normally trade. But recently I have been scaling down and going into micros and trying to take that long-term trade, right? So today this is the trade that I took, and I wish I stayed in. Right, so I took this position right here earlier today, and I end up getting out like right here at 500. So if I would have stayed in and allowed my TP to be hit, because my TP was right here at these lows, we would have hit for $1,200. And it took me all day, right? I took it last night at what, 5, 6 o'clock in the, yeah, right here, literally right here, 6 o'clock in the morning. I took this trade 630, and then price just melted. I moved my stop loss right here, and I let this shit ride out. Once price broke this level, I don't know what the fuck made me get out, bro. But literally, once price touched this, I got out, and I don't know why. There was nothing. There was nothing telling me to get out that trade. Okay, so again, guys, price broke our level. If price comes back to this level right here, taking a sell, stop loss at the highs, take profit at the lows. That is a high probability setup. It is a little, because of the way that this high has worked, it is a little steep for risk, but it is still not bad as long as you're not over leveraging. All right, this is about to be a 3R, so it's not bad. 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, almost 3R. So you said you're talking about 795. Now I want to see price touch 804, 25 804, or 23 804, 805. As a matter of fact, 23 805 even is where my limit order is at. And as you guys can see, our OTE zone live. Matter of fact, I might move it a little bit up to 809 because that is where our 618 level lies. Right, I'm gonna put my stop loss right above the 786 level, which is kind of going against what I like. Let me see if are you on Discord? Yeah, you're on Discord. I can't even zoom in. I don't know how to zoom in on Discord, but it's at 23 809.525 is where I'm at. That's where my limit order will be laying. Stop loss is at these highs right here, but this looks like a decent type trade to me. Again, you're never gonna win them all, guys, right? But all we could do is go with the data, right? So if we're in a downtrend and we just got a pullback to this level, right? Normally, every time we get a pullback, we make a lower low, as you guys can see right here, right? This is our level that we broke, right? What did price do? It respected that level. And this is why I said I'm waiting for price to retrace, is because, look, this was the level that it broke. This was our resistance. What did price do? Price broke it, it retested it, and then we went lower. So now that's what we're waiting for. Again, we probably could have got in a little bit better, like right here, because we did break. Let me take this big ass box off real quick so you guys can see. Right? This was our support level right here. Price broke on, you see why it's support, guys? Right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You have 30 minutes, almost 40 minutes of support right here. So price broke beneath of it, also breaking beneath this low, right? And then again, even if you want to get a little more technical, maybe you know what ICC, some terms. This is a breaker block, right? Price broke beneath this breaker, it retests it, and then we go lower. Right? A breaker block is just the last candle before it goes up, right? So if this is the last candle before we go up, right? Prices ran through it, creating a breaker block. So now we want price to reject this area. Uh-oh, my girl's on the I'm happy as hell. Nah, my shorty on her way. I ain't gonna lie, that YouTube video is not getting done tonight, bro. Ain't no way in hell. You lying too? Dang, bro. I ain't gonna lie. YouTube. Yo, for real. Missed out on 1K, one more didn't enter what I had it set. Damn, gang, that sucks. But geeking and shit, we're chill, bro, chill. But yeah, so I'm still gonna wait on this correction, guys. I'm still gonna get my limb order set. I have it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna see what is going on real quick. But look, yes, this is why I didn't close my fucking trade. And I'm a shark, bro. Look at gold, guys. Look at gold. We are back down beneath this level. You see what I'm talking about, bro? Look, can you guys see on my screen? Remember I told you we closed that position? So I entered again off of the break. So I entered right here again, right? Once price came back down, I'm going to show you why I entered. So I'm going to delete everything off the screen. I entered again off of this because I know we were going lower. It doesn't make sense. This is the correction, right? So I entered right here, guys. Now I kind of should have called it out. I just was a little nervous. I didn't want you guys to get in a trade and for me to blow you guys up. So I entered right here off of this. And do you know why? This is our liquidity, right? Price makes a high and it'll make a lower high, right? So now we have this level right here, right? Why is this a level? Right? We have support 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we have this level right here that I want. What the fuck was that? Bro, I just heard the weirdest noise ever. Alright, I don't know what the fuck that was. But, right, so we have our support level or a resistance level, right? Price broke beneath of it. It came back up. Again, we could have even done it right here. I did take 3 positions, so I'm going to show you where I took all of them. So the first one was right here, just being a little early, right? The second position was right here, and this is the safer position, and I'm going to show you why. Again, this is our support level, 1, 2, right? Price came back up, turns on top of it, right? So we turned support, and then we turned it into resistance. Once we rejected this, we take our sell, right? Once we rejected this support again, you see how these 2 candles, 3 candles, we rejected it by going lower, and then we go higher, we reject it again. So this is how you know you're in a downtrend, guys. Every single time price goes below a stagnant level and comes back up, take your entry. So these are my 3 entries right here. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I am in this trade. We are up currently 72K. All right, I am expecting and I will hold. And as you guys can see, we continue to break levels and get right back to it. Right, we broke this level. We respected it and then we came lower. So we should continue the same exact pattern. Right, we respected this level. We should, matter of fact, I can make this a little bit better. Right, we respected this level and then we go lower. So I would expect price to make a lower low. What's going on, Aki? We are up 82. If you guys can see that on the screen. 93, 94, 96, 99, 98. Shit is running right now. That is another 250K day. I need this to stick though. There we go. There we go. Oh, on NQ? What happened with NQ? NQ didn't come back up. Dang, bro. Yeah, NQ didn't come back up to give us our entry, guys. I'm taking my limit order off. Yeah, try and again just wait. Look right here. This is our. We got the bottom of these candles to the wick. price came back and tapped it, right? So again, on a lower time frame, this is why again scalping works so fucking good with ICC, bro. I swear, bro. Look, we have our indication below this level that we're bearish, right? Price comes back up, sweeps liquidity, and then what's it do? It comes right back up to this level. What is this level? FVG, and I guarantee it's a fib level, right? What level is it? Fib level, right? This whole thing is a fib level, right? So that's not order block. That is a OTE zone, right? So what the price do? Price smacked into it. What do? We take our sell right off of it. Boom, sell, stop loss at the high of the zone, back down at the low. This is a 7 RR, right? So we could have took it off of that, but again, because again we didn't get to see all of this, so I was hoping I just doubled all my losses from last week and just turned the profit with one trade. Good shit, bro. Good shit. I mean, so again, right now we are at a support level right here. So if we break beneath this level, we can, well, again, we don't, matter of fact, we are too low to this to even want to take a trade. It might actually be decent. Let's see. Take profit, stop loss, limit order, TP. Let's do one mini. 400 bucks, not a bad trade. All right, but ICC works so well with scalping, bro. That is why for me, I definitely like scalping with ICC. I do swings, it just, they have to be right. It takes a lot longer for swings to get in place. Look at this, guys. Look at the 4-hour time frame now, right? We are creating a lower low. So I am going to expect for price to hold this level, right? I'm not expecting price to go back higher because as you can see, we rejected this level perfectly, right? So in order to be a swing trader, bro, you have to catch it on the 4-hour time frame. You have to be able to wait for price to get to this level, take the trade, and then just forget, right? You can't take any swing trades in the middle of a move, right? It's impossible. Like for instance, I tried doing this the other day and got stopped out and lost what, like 200K? Was this right here, right? Price bounced off this level, turned green, and starts to go this way. So I take my trade and thinking we're going to come back for the correction, right? And then what happens? We get this candle, and then this candle takes me out just to go in my favor, right? So you see that you can't go against the trend. Now, if I would have just took the trade here, you would have seen that I would be in no fucking drawdown because I'm with the trend, right? Put it at the top of the level, TP back down at these lows. And as you can see, this is a almost 12 RR, and I'm with the trend and we get no drawdown. Literally, if we would have took it off of this bounce right here, the minute this candle closed, we are in profit the entire leeway, bro. So that is why it's important to go with the trend and not against it, because you get these crazy ass wicks that are called stop hunts and they're coming to take you out. You feel me? So just be careful, right? Make sure you're going with the trend and not against it. And I don't know why I'm being so antsy right now. I want to close my position being up this much, but I also know where price is going, bro. 8 a.m. I know it's coming to take these New York lows, bro. I mean, pardon me, this is 8 p.m. I know it's coming to take Sydney lows. We don't really talk about Sydney that much. Dude at the gym, hogging this machine, dog. I'm trying to go look at the charts. Bro, you gotta tell him, like, look, bro, you fucking up my chart time, bro. Like, let me get my little set in right quick. Um, this is Asia low. Right, this is what? This is another Asia low. Right, so we have all of the highs being grabbed. We don't have any of the lows being grabbed yet. So again, this is my indication that we should be going for these lows. Right, it's never a guarantee, but these are just called liquidity pools. um, and which price likes to target. This right here was New York session low. So I'm hoping that this wasn't the liquidity pool that it wanted, right? This is New York low at, what time was this? 3 p.m. So if this is the liquidity pool that it wanted, and then, yeah, we're smacked and we're going higher. Because look what's happening. We did bounce off of this, creating another higher high. Right? We have our high, we have our low right here. We created a higher low. Price bounces off of this level. Right? I think over test and goes lower. Yeah, dang, price is falling ass right now, bro. I gotta close one position because it's getting close. Fuck it, I'm just gonna close position. We are up. Let's see what we're on today. We have 225.99 or 225.950. Nice day. Can't complain. I should have waited, honestly. I do like sells only because we are retesting this level, right? So if we get a test of this level, we might be going for lows. Matter of fact, guys, let's hold off. Let's hold off on sells. Let's hold off on sells. Only because this is New York high, right? This is Asia open, right? This open taking New York highs, and then we got an energetic move taking, pardon me, we took, why did I say highs? I'm sorry, guys. We took New York low, and then we literally ran and took New York high, right? So we have two liquidity pools grabbed right off the rip, right? So I'm not honestly sure of a direction right now. Again, I personally, if I was being a little ballsy, is I would take a sell off of this position right here because I guarantee it's a fib level. Yep, it's a fib level, right? So it might not be a bad idea to take a sell, but it's still risky because of the direction and what is going on. I believe that we are going to get into consolidation because watch this. What happened last time? Price did this. What happened last time when price grabbed the highs and grabbed the lows? What did it do afterwards? Right? So let's go look. Let me take everything off this chart so I get a better see. Okay, here we go, right? What happened last time? This is the highs, right? This is, let's go with right here is this is Asia high. This is Asia high. Right? This is London low. This is New York. Okay, right? And then this is also London high right here. Right? So right off the rip, New York opened, right? It took out London low. And then again, I could show you other lows, but it really doesn't matter, right? This is Asia low, right? So, oh, he left. Good shit. Now you get the fuck up out of there, right? So New York session opened up right here, and we took out London low, Asia low, and then we took out London high, Asia high. And then what did we do? We consolidated, and then we went higher, right? We didn't go much higher. We went right to our level that we just previously broke. All right, this is the level that we broke. This is our indication. This is our correction. And then this is our continuation. You see how we make a lower low? So we could honestly, guys, be doing the same thing right now. Right? Where did we just break from? We just broke from this level. So price could come back up to this level and still be in a downtrend, guys. Right? So if we go to a higher time frame, you will get to see why. Right? This is the level I'm talking about. Right? You can see price rejected this Asia high and we went lower. So price came back to this level to make another lower low. We can maybe take I just wouldn't be it just wouldn't be safe to take a buy to this level because you have two fair value gaps right here that can just push price lower. Right? So we see DXY is on the move and it literally just did exactly what the fuck I said it was gonna do. Watch. Right? Literally just did exactly what the fuck I said, just on a smaller scale right here instead of right here. Right? So just because, again, I want you guys to understand this because this is a big part. Don't fucking forget what I'm about to say. Do you see how this is our accumulation? And then what happens? We get a smaller level right here. So this is called a micro level, right? What did price do? Price broke the micro, took on top of it, and then it went higher, right? So again, I like to take positions off of this sometimes, right? Because sometimes I feel since this is all previous session, that sometimes this does not matter, right? So sometimes I believe that this is this beginning of Asian session open right here, that this is the accumulation that I'm worried about, right? So this is my accumulation on the support end. This is the resistance end. We broke out, making a new high, breaking all of these highs, right? And then we retested this support area right here. I mean resistance area turning into support, and then we went higher, right? So as you guys can see, we have a upward trend. We broke highs. This is gonna give us a look. We had our mini correction right here. We have the FVG right here. So we might get some trace back down into DXY, which is gonna push us higher. And then as you can see, we have all of this room to target to get highs, right? So in my book, if DXY is going higher, which is a perfect uptrend or a clear uptrend right now, and then we are honestly, bro, maybe going to get lower, right? Because we have higher lows right here, and then we have this support resistance right here. Okay, so I want to see price come to this level, and then once it decides to get to this level, and then I'll decide what I'm gonna do with gold. Right? Because if it gets up to that level, and then this is most likely going to be down at this level, and then we could decide if we want to retrace. So I would love, honestly, this to happen. I want to see price fall, taking this low right here, creating our indication. And then I want price to do this, to come back, creating our correction. And then I want price to do this, creating our continuation, right? Does that make sense? We have our indication. What is our indication? If this is support, price has to break below it, creating a lower low. If that happens, the only way price is going to go up is by creating market structure, by making a higher low. Once it makes a higher low, it's most likely going to come back to this level, which would be our correction. And then after that, we want price to respect it. We want price to break below. Breaking a low. So if this is our low, we want price to break below it. We want price to come back to our level, which would be right here. Once it respects that level, we take our sell. Put your stop loss at the top of the correction high. Take profit back down at these lows, right? Even maybe a little bit lower, but regardless, this is what I'm looking for, right? We're not looking to take a trade off of the continuum, even though again we may get some selling below this level, but we just don't know how far. So it would be better if we wait for price to come back, right? I don't want to see, because if price comes back now and then we're back in consolidation, guys, We don't want to be back in consolidation. We don't want price to come up to this level. We don't. Because again, look what price did. It came up to this level. So we don't want that. If you guys can see, look, price accumulates and then we drop, right? So now we know anything below this level right here, we should be bearish. And what did price do? Right? So we have our indication right here below this level. Even again, if you want to make it a little bit more better, you could do this level here because it's for a 12-hour support. Price broke this level. So we know anything underneath this level, we are bearish, right? And then what do? We have our correction back to this level, right? And then what do? We have our continuation creating a lower low, right? So we don't really have anything to go off of right now. We just need to wait for price action to do what it does so we could get a whole new set of rules, right? Right now, we can't go off the previous rules is because we have already made our levels. What we need is to make a lower low. As you guys can see right now, we don't have a lower low. We have a higher low, right? Price decided to grab liquidity and then it created a support level right here, right? So there's only two things that are going to happen in my book. I'm going to take this off of my screen because I'm not worried about it no more if price does what I'm about to say. Right? If price holds this as support and doesn't go below it and turns this into support, I will take a buy and just put my stop loss below this low and honestly not worry and just hope that the probability is on my side for the day. But at the end of the day, it's not a bad trade. It's a 4RR. It is honestly a great trade, but we just not going off of it as ICC. It's more of the correction, right? It's more of getting into the trend before it happens, right? And again, remember guys, when I caught this trade the other like last month, I caught this trade right here, right? So as you guys can see, as a matter of fact, I caught both of these, right? Price came right here. I took this sell right here. It's on my it's on my TikTok, and you guys probably seen this, right? But regardless, is I took this sell. Let's go to the short. Right, I took this sell right here. I ended up getting not all of it. I think I got right to here before price retraced on me, which I should have stayed in. Again, I'll just be scary sometimes, not gonna lie. But as you can see, this is the low. Price broke beneath of it, giving us our indication, our correction, and we got our continuation, making a new low. So what I was waiting for is the same exact shit, right? So I did two things. I waited for my fib level, and I said, let me see if fib is going to play a part. So as you can see, fib played a part. But what I needed is for price to create another lower low, because if this is our indication and this is our correction, once price got underneath of this gray box, I took this sell, and then I realized that we ended up going back up and we created this right here. Once we created a low and then we created a higher low, I was like, let me get out of my position. I got out of the position and I literally took a buy, and I'm going to go back down to the lower time frame. I'm going to show you where I got in. So I realized that that the Fibonacci pushes down. And then I said, okay, well, we just grab liquidity on both ends, the top and the bottom. So I drew my fib from the bottom to the top this time. I'm like, okay, I need to get in. There has to be a way for me to get in. So I did, right? What did price do? I drew out my GAN box once we got into the OTE. Once price touched my halfway point, I took my trade and I literally got in. Oh, pardon me, I didn't get in off the halfway point. I waited for the halfway point to be respected. Once it did, and we broke these initial highs right here, right? We broke these highs, we broke these highs, right? We have right here, we broke highs. So now I'm saying, okay, price must want to go higher. So let's wait for our correction. Once we corrected back down to this support level right here, and I realized that it was 618, I took my entry right there. Right? Took an entry right here. Stop loss below below this wick right here, because if I was wrong, it's going to make a lower low than this. So I didn't want to have my stop loss here. I just put it right below this wick. right? And then we targeted these highs right here, and then we got literally a nice 9RR, and then I did end up getting more of this move. We got in right here, and I'm just going to keep showing you guys where I get into my trades and what I'm looking for, because in a uptrend, what is support and resistance? What are we looking for? We're looking for price to bounce off the levels that it previously just left from or broke above, right? So again, this is our support right here. So now I want to see price create a higher support level, right? So what do? I draw out my fib level from the bottom to the top, right? As you can see, OTE is right here. So what did I wait for? I waited for price to give me bullish pressure. Once we got bullish pressure above this level of 618, I took my position right around here, and we end up taking it right to these highs. 1, 2, yeah, right here. We took it to these highs. We got a almost 4RR. Once that happened, which was right here, we end up getting in again. And I'm going to show you why again. Right, so now this is called equilibrium. I was not basically when price respected equilibrium, and again, it's just this really has nothing to do with our trading style. It is just letting me know that price is still in a trend, right? There are points which again 618, 786 are for reversals. Equilibrium is for continuations, right? So again, it just paired up with our support level, right? So that is all. I wasn't looking only at the Fibonacci. I was looking at our support level. I mean, pardon me, our resistance level, right? This is our resistance level, right? So what did price do? Price made our indication above this high. It corrected to this level. Once it corrected to this level, and we have this inversion right here, which is a basically, look, do you guys see? Price made it support, we broke below it, and we turned it back into support, which happened to be a fair value gap. So I took my position right there, and again, we targeted some next level highs, which was right here. And as you guys can see, price, where the fuck are we at? Oh, right here. Right, and then as you can see, price did that. Oh, sorry. Why? Hold on. Where did I target? Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't. We targeted this level right here, right? This support level. Right. If I draw this out, it's this red line. But that is it, right? All I'm doing is waiting for highs to be broken, guys. Once a high gets broken, I want it to retrace to that level. Once it retraces to that level, we just take our trade. All right. These deep V's are honestly very hard to even work with because most people are honestly going to take this as a downtrend, right? But if you look at it on a higher time frame, did we break any levels? All right, where's our support level? All right, right here. Support. What did price do? It just came back down to support. What did it do after? It probably did a Fibonacci level, which it does perfectly right here. What do? We wait for price to give us indications, right? So now what do? If this is our support level, what do we want? The price to go above it, give us a break of a structure above this high. We wait for it to retrace. Once it holds this level, we take our buy, right? So that's what you do, right? If this is our support level and price broke underneath of it, and we know it's at an equilibrium or we know it's at an OTE, all we do is wait for price to get back on top of it. Once it gets back on top of this level, and then we know it doesn't want to go lower. So we take our buys, and as you can see, price just melts and continues to go higher, right? And then you start to get this equal sideways chop, which hopefully you guys would have got out because you would have realized that we're not going any fucking higher, right? But that is kind of what I look for, guys. And I know that may be a little confusing. So I will again, and I promise you, I will get these YouTube videos out. I know I am slacking, but I do want to. I don't want them to be half-assed. Like I'm not a person who does things half-assed. So I don't want to just put something out there and it be bullshit. You feel me? I want that shit to be, A1. I actually went down to the beach the other day. I took my little intro. You feel me? So I'm trying to put this shit together and make it like decent. It don't gotta be perfect, you know what I mean? I just want it to at least be halfway decent. Alright, so let's go to the 1 minute and find out what price is doing and see if I was correct. So what did I say was gonna happen? Does anybody remember? If I said liquidity was grabbed on both ends, then what happens after that? Price is going to consolidate, right? So it clears up where to take your entries. Hell yeah, it does. It helps you out a lot, especially when you're doing retracements, right? It allows you to like understand where your entry is going to be at, especially when it overlaps certain levels. You know what I mean? Like if it overlaps your support level, and then it's like, oh, okay, that's easy. I don't have to worry about two different levels and I have to guess which one works. All I have to do is take the trade because they're overlapping the same fucking level. Right? Like price is overlapping this support level, which happens to be OTE. So if we were looking for buys, right, it could be a good time. Right the fuck now. Take the buy like that. Stop loss at below this level. Take profit at the high. Right? But why is this backwards? Long position. Stop loss at the low. Take profit at the high. It's almost a 4.5 R. Hop in or what? Honestly, look, it is a. I'm not saying enter at your own risk, right? I believe that it honestly is a high probability trade, but at the end of the day, we are still in a downtrend, right? We did just create a higher. No, we didn't even break that high, guys. That's the whole point, right? We grab liquidity right here, and then we grab liquidity right here, right? So in my eyes, I do believe we may come back up to these highs, but it's just a risky, you know what I mean? It's just a little risky. That's all it is. It's because we are honestly trying to predict the trend right now. We are going against the trend, right? This is a downtrend, right? So what we are doing right now by taking this trade is basically saying we're going to anticipate and we're going to catch this trend before it happens, right? So that is why it is a risky trade. We are still in our OTE, and that right there, let's see. We're still OTE, bro. Scary money, it definitely don't. I mean, we've done it before. I've definitely taken trades basically off fib without no bearish bullish structure. But right now, you see, we just broke underneath this level. We rejected the level. So now it is good that we did wait because you see that it's not going above this level. It's literally rejecting it pretty hard. Sellers are still here, right? You just got to remember the signs, right? When you see hammers, this is called a hammer. You see this candle right here, where you have the wick on the, I mean the body on the bottom, but the wick is way up here. This is called a upside down hammer or an inverted hammer, and this means that the sellers, that bulls were buying pressure, and then the sellers pushed it back down, right? So when you see long candles on the top, I mean long wicks on the top, and then the body on the bottom, it is mean that sellers are active, right? So we want to get that pressure above this area again, right? Again, just because we touch this OTE does not mean we need to buy. If we want to take a buy, this is exactly what we need to see. Price to bounce off this level. Once it breaks above this box, and then we want, dang, bro, look at this. If we would have took the buy, look what the fuck would have happened. But we want price to break above this box, The next candle, we want to retest this box. Once it shows it's not going to go below this, and then we take the buy, right? That is kind of what, oh man, that is kind of what I like to do. But again, this is might run and we will still get it on a higher time frame, right? But again, if we reject this level like we just did right now, and then we are creating a lower high, right? Which we just did. We created a lower high, right? So we need for this candle to test off of this low, respect it, break above this, touch it, and then go higher, right? So, oh my God, guys. Holy shit. Literally, if we would have took this trade, our TP would have been hit. Ain't that crazy? Literally. I said 3R, so where was it at? 4.5 R. Remember, I had it below this OTE zone, which was luckily. This is why gambling is better. Yo, that is so crazy, bro. But you guys see though, and I want you to understand what the fuck just happened. So this means when you see this exact shit happen again, and then you know to take the trade. This is what you have to understand, and if the market is going to repeat itself over and over again, it's up for you to see that. If you can't see that, I promise you, it's going to be very fucking hard, right? And what are we looking at? We're looking at a support zone. We're looking at a higher high, a higher high, right? We're looking for price to retrace, breaking resistance, getting back on top. Once we get back on top, we take our entry. And as you can see, we would have take profit hit. If I would have said yes, take the trade, all of you guys would have been in TP right now, right? Ain't that crazy? New York high was just swept. New York high was just swept. But we did not create a higher high, right? What did we grab? We grabbed a lot of fucking liquidity, right? And this is again why it's just like we are still stagnant, right? We are still within this zone, right? It's just the lower time frame. Again, you could have caught this trade on a lower time frame, but it is still the correction, guys. Like we are still having lower lows, right? This could just be the pullback for price to dump, right? This is still trend line liquidity, right? So we are still getting a cool rejection off this 1 minute, right? We did not create a higher high, which is, a little suspicious. But if price wants to test this area, which is a FVG, again, there may not be a bad point to take our entry here, which we just kind of missed. But liquidity grab is honestly just confusing. Right, so this level, let me do a little bit better because I don't like that level. I like this one. This is another fair value gap right here. Let's see what our fib level is telling us. Our fib level is telling us that this is our OTE right here. Alright, so it is overlapping kind of our support level. So I'm going to take this fib off the screen and know if this level holds. Now, it might be a good time to get in for buys. If this level holds. This is an FVG right here. Right, so we got to see this level hold. And we might invert it, which it looks like where it's holding though. That is insane, guys. Creating a higher high liquidity grab. Like honestly, I think we just might be. I think Asia session. This might be doing Asia session fake outs all day. Honestly, I think it's building us up to take us down. Right? Because this is the last level of highs right here. We don't break above it. This is our key level support. Dang, bro, look at this. If we create another higher high off of this OTE zone, bro, I'm just fucking trading that from now on. Like, that's like the third time in a row that this shit has happened. Almost some more ice cream. Yeah, it's that lower high, right? That's what's throwing me off, to be honest. Or pardon me, this lower high, it's throwing me off. I'm hoping, again, we did have our, like, on a lower 1 minute time frame, right? This is the high. We broke above it, giving us indication. We got our correction, and then we have our continuation. So we should make a lower, another high. I don't want price to come back to this level. If this comes back to this level and then we're in accumulation, right? I want price to break this level so we could get back on this level, right? That's what I want. If price could break this level, I would like to retest this level and take my entry right here and then go long, right? Because if we do that, again, this is probably another fib level, right? Matter of fact, let's see where the fib level would be if we get to that, right? If we, dang, that would be a nice push up here to retest fib level right here. Matter of fact, I'm drawing the fib wrong. What the fuck? Alright, I would like to see a push up here. Because the fib level will line up with this resistance zone. Alright, I just don't want this to come back down. If it comes back down, and then it's just going to get stuck in accumulation. But that's literally the second time, bro. Let's see what DXY is doing. DX, oh my god, this might be a good buy, bro. Oh my god, DXY is at its correction, right? Indication, correction, continuation, right? If we go down to the daily, nope, super ugly, right? So we know underneath this level, we are bearish. Price is at that level. So if we get underneath this level in DXY, this may be a good time to take now to the level at the high. Okay. Oh, okay. So right. So if DXY comes back below this level, right, which is getting there, right? So this is what needs to happen. DXY needs to get below this level. If it gets below this level, we want to see it bounce off it to go lower, which will give gold the boost to go higher. But if DXY bounces off of this level and just basically goes higher, and then gold is going to go lower, right? So that are the two things that are happening right now, and that's why we're getting a push up on DXY, and gold we're getting a push down, right? So again, we are coming back to this level. I didn't want to see that, but it is what it is. Honestly, bro, this is definitely. I want to see highs be broke. I honestly would like to see London session. I want to get off the fucking charts and just wait until London session, because watching this shit is very annoying, right? Because we're just literally collecting data from every minute and trying to analyze it instead of waiting for data to make reference points and then analyze it, right? When you're trying to analyze every candlestick of what every candlestick's gonna do, it is honestly too much. You honestly, again, when you see shit like this and you don't know where direction is, it is best to get off the charts come back in 2 hours, and then assess. So you have 2 hours worth of data to assess instead of sitting here like we are right now, and literally every candle we have data and we have things that we could talk about, right? So that is the hard part, is that you guys have to understand that, is to, again, I think matter of fact, I made a journal and I literally told myself to only look at the charts during these times. So I'm going to write them on the screen. So these are the only times that in my trading journal, that I'm allowed to trade. Asia session, I trade from 1:30 a.m. until um, until 3, well, yeah, I guess 3 a.m. Asia session ends. Right, so this is the only time I could trade Asia session. This is the only time I could trade London session, which is an overlap at this point, right? Is from 2:30, because that's open, that's pre-market open for a London session is at 2:30 a.m. and then I will trade until 3:30 a.m. Yeah. All right, and then I will trade again from right here, from 6 a.m. until let's say like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Right, and then New York session, we trade from 8:30 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. and then we trade again after 2:30 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. Right, so these are the only times that I trade. Literally the only times that I trade. I don't take trades really anytime after these sessions. Anytime between or 8 a.m. bro. So stay up till 2 a.m. Go to bed, wake up at 7. Yes. So that's kind of what I do, is I will look at the chart. I will basically try and get a trade in, because Asian and London overlap, right? So 3:30. So from 1:30 to 3:30, I'm looking at the charts. If I can't catch a trade at that time, and then I'm going to sleep, and I'll wake up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then I'll take a trade between then. If I can't get a trade between then, I'm getting off the charts. Maybe go get in the shower, go work out for an hour, come back around 9 o'clock, 8:30, and then I want to catch a trade around 9:30. 8:30 again, if I go and show you guys, let's see. Let's find 8:30 in the morning. Look, 8:30 is right here, right? So price moved. Look at this price starting this downtrend at 8:40, and it continued all of New York, right? So if we go to it again, look, hold on, ready? This is 3 o'clock. This is 3:20 on the dot, right? But we stopped trading at 3:30, so I would have caught this trade right here, right? What time is this? This is 1 o'clock, right? What time did we start trading? 1:30. So we would have caught this trade maybe right here, right? But regardless, 1 o'clock, you could maybe hop in the trade. But you see what I'm saying? There are only, look, what time is this drop right here? Nope, doesn't matter. It's out of session. This is out of session as well, right? So if you guys could start to see, look, this move started at 9:50, and then we go up. This move started at 9 a.m. Right, so 9 a.m. we cut the move down, 9:50 catch the move up. This move started at 8:30. You see what I'm saying? This move started at what? At 8 o'clock. So this is why I only trade these hours. These are the best hours to trade. It is when market is moving the fastest for gold. This is at 4 o'clock. We would have missed this trade, right? It's not big anyway. right? This is at 10, 11, 12. Nope, we want to call it none of that. It's not a big deal, right? This moved down 1 o'clock around that time. This move up was at 10 o'clock. This move down was at 9 a.m., 9:15, right? So what time was this move down? It was at 8:40. You see what I'm saying, guys? So that is why I only trade them hours, is because you can see that they are the biggest times to trade. And as you guys can see right now, gold is being bearish still. This is why it's called Asian session or London session fake outs, is because you get all of this energetic move to the upside, and then it tricks you and lets you know that it wants to go lower, guys. That is why it is very hard to trade Asian session, is because they have to generate liquidity, right? They have to make liquidity. So how do you make liquidity? By moving price in a direction to fool you, to get you buying, right? Because again, if we look at the market, we break this high, we make another high, we grab liquidity, we don't break structure, right? So we could be looking for buys, right? We stay on top of this high right here, so we could be looking for buys. That is tricking everybody. And then what does Asian session do? It just says, nah, we're not going to follow market structure. We're going to do our own thing, right? Because the reason why, again, is because there's not enough. Why is these dogs going crazy? I swear to God, bro. Yo, can y'all hear that? But you see what I'm saying? Like, no, fuck them dogs. I'll go hang them bitches outside. I fucking hate dogs. Alright, I just probably got banned off TikTok for saying that for sure. Holy shit. Wildin' for that. But you feel what I'm saying? So this is just Asian manipulation, guys. Like, word is born, this is Asian manipulation. It is literally gonna run you in every direction. Yeah, he said, yeah, you're cooked. Bro, this shit crazy, gang. But yeah, this is just gonna run you in every direction. It's gonna make you feel stupid. It's gonna make you feel like you don't know what you're doing trading. And that is why I don't trade Asian session until a certain time. Is because I need all of this to get out of the way, so I'm not being their liquidity, right? The first key of this reversal was liquidity being grabbed right here. Is that we didn't make a higher high, right? We made a higher low, right? Grabbing liquidity with the wick only, right? If we draw the wick, look, this is New York session liquidity. This is um, 9 p.m. This is Asia. No, this is Sydney highs. This is Asia high. Asia came and grabbed all the liquidity, and then we melted to the downside, back down to the support level, which again is, if you are trading support resistance, it may not be a bad time to take a buy, only because if price is going to continue doing what it's doing, it's just going to do this, right? It's going to come back up to these highs and do the same, maybe right here, but this is still 8RR, which is insane, right? If this level, purple level, gets respected and gets on top, and then we may take a buy and come back up to these highs right here, right? But you just got to remember that this is Asia session, so you aren't going to get as much movement. And as you can see, look, this is the low. Look what happened. Price grabbed the low, right? So we want, yeah, so we kind of want price to just to get above this pink line or pink box, get on top of it, and then maybe just take it to these highs right here, right? You don't want to take it all the way up here because we're not going to get a higher high, right? You could even take it to this support level right here, right? So, which would be like right here, right? So again, it's still a crazy RR. It's still a 6R, right? So, but that's if you just want to scalp. This is not something that, again, trading should be how we should really be trading. And as you can see, why don't you acknowledge the top and bottom of wicks? Because in a lower time frame, or if you look, okay, for instance, this is a lower time frame. If we go to a higher time frame, you could see that, look how long this wick is down here. And then if we go to a lower time frame, look, it's the body of the candles. right? So you just gotta understand that just because they're wicks in a one time frame does not mean they're wicks in another time frame, right? So again, I'm expecting price to, from our initial assessment, was for price to come and take these lows, right? So how do you come and take this low? By building buying pressure so sellers could get in, right? How do you get buyer pressure? By taking sales. Do Mike V method and make it. I don't know what Mike V method is. Oh, Mike Vick. Oh shit, and make a few extra dollars. Yeah, you funny as hell. But you feel me? So again, I personally will not be taking any trades in this market only because of the indecision. There is nothing letting me know what is actually going on. Right? We don't have anything really clear. All we have is stupid ass consolidation, sideways movement. We don't have anything. We do have this high being grabbed. Yeah, it just their ass is really playing ping pong. So they need their ass whooped. Right? So we are literally still at this support level. Again, I do like when this happens because most of the time it is liquidity being grabbed and then it should come up and make us bullish, right? For the most part, I would love to see this be grabbed fully and then for price to get back on top to go high. But at the end of the day, I'm not no fucking market maker, so we could only do what they tell us. So we just made a lower low right here for this. I'm gonna go down to the 15-minute and see what we look like in the 15-minute. As you can see, we have all equal lows right now, right? So there's not much for us to go off of. So we would get off of the charts and come back in 2 hours. So we have more candles to look at and more market structure, right? Again, I only try to look at the candles during certain times because if there's not enough data, and then you're gonna force a trade by forcing you to see something that's not there, right? So let's not do that. Let's not force ourselves and trick ourselves because there's no reason. Once market decides to tell us where it wants to go, it was going to make the trading a whole lot easier, right? So again, the only two things we can look for is for price to give us an indication through the bottom, for us to get a correction back to where it broke, which is right here, and then we take the sell off of this, right? So this is how I'm looking for sells. I need price to break this low, come back to it, respect it, break a low, come back up to the resistance that it just broke from, which would be like right here, creating a head and shoulders if you guys see, right? Head and shoulders pattern, take this sell, right? If we're looking for buys, it's just the same exact opposite. I want price to make a higher high. I want price to come and retest it. And then I just want price to respect this level and then making our higher high. Do a 2 a.m. live. Bro, you know what's crazy? When I look at the charts at 2 a.m., I am in my bed. I literally have my Apple laptop next to me, and I look at the charts laying in bed. I take my trade laying right in bed. I don't get the fuck up. Good view for us. But I do want to start doing some more lives like during the day. Just that I'm so fucking busy, bro, doing so much other bullshit that it's hard for me to go live during these hours. Because literally, you're gonna see, I literally took my laptop to the beach, got on a fucking bench, and I sat there and I day traded for the whole day. Because first of all, it was nice as hell outside, and I just wanted to do something, right? So, and for some reason, my Apple laptop does not hold enough bandwidth to stream. It makes it super laggy. I guess that's what you get for buying an older model, but I might just have to buy a new one because when I bought it, I really wasn't making money yet. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. We might be able to just hop in a voice call, but Yeah, I got one for a new one now, but when I first bought it, I literally bought it like a couple months ago. It's like an older model, but it's brand fucking new. So I'm playing. Funny as hell. Yeah, I don't know if I got the money, bro. I might need donations. I'm gonna put my cash app below for anybody who wants to donate me a couple dollars. I'm kind of broke. I got like $5 on my account, so I got you. That, but I appreciate it. I don't even know what my cash app is, bro. It's not my man's fault. I would fight somebody if they sent me a donation. Like, you trying to disrespect me, bro? You think I need your $5? Do I look like I need your $5, bro? Right? Right? Like that's why I don't get how like people donate like to Kai Cenat and fucking you're like this dude's a billionaire, damn near hundreds of millions of dollars, and kids are donating to him. It's like, bro, he should be donating to you guys. Like, what the fuck are y'all giving this guy? He's making billions of dollars off y'all, and you guys are just giving him money. Like, here, bro, I love watching you. Here's more money. It's like, what? Like, I don't get this whole streaming shit, bro, for real. Like, I understand like sending gifts and stuff because I don't even get that money, but it really goes to TikTok. Like, I literally last stream, I think I made like $3 last stream. But like they actually send donations like Cash App and shit like that. It's like Mr. Beast. Like how are you fucking get all this money and then you're just gonna give away like hey here's my Cash App and please donate to me. Even though I know he gives a lot of his money away because that's what what his platform is. But it's a crazy thing. Like even like watching like Fortnite and watching these guys get good on Fortnite. And then you go to their stream and it's like Galaxy, 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 Galaxy. It's like, bro, you're watching him play Fortnite, bro. Like, he's not teaching you nothing. Word, that's funny as hell. Yeah, it really is, bro. It's crazy. Like, this whole new generation, like, you honestly, you have to get onto this wave because it is easy. Like, if this is what they're gonna do, you might as well just hop on board. If streaming is what makes money, you might as well just hop on board, right? Like YouTube. That's why I honestly need to just start pushing videos because at the end of the day, it could blow up, and I could get paid from YouTube as well, which would be passive income. Make a couple videos a week, collect a nice little paycheck. Like we are getting to that era where what I mean. It's just like streaming, bro. Video services. I know, right? Listen, when I was younger in college, um, before it is now, I was doing like live streams and stuff like that on my Instagram and on my Twitter. My Twitter had like 280K followers before I got hacked. I was a big thing out Arizona, and so I was going live every single party, and literally just have my cameraman walk around and film us. Just have go to Project X parties, jump off the roofs in the pools, go to the casino, put 20K on black and lose. Like that was my life at one point, and then I got hacked, and I kind of just like said fuck that shit. But it just was like you said, it was dumb shit, bro. I was just being dumb, spending money, getting arrested for underage gambling. Like I was just doing so much dumb shit, but it was working. And then I literally got hacked and I lost all of my following. And it's the second time, bro. Matter of fact, it's the third time I got hacked. Yeah, for real. Listen, I was my TikTok. I was getting like 300-400 people a day messaging me, asking me to for them to pay me to throw a party. So what I was a party promoter. So people would say like, "Hey, I have a house." Yeah, they really was. They're like, "Yo, I have a house. I want to throw a party. Can you add people to your to your guest list, and we can split the profits?" And I would say hell yeah because we're charging $20 per person to get in the door, and it's probably like $2,000-3,000 per person every single day. So I was walking away. Let me see. Let me do the math real quick. Oh, and then we would kick them out at midnight, and then invite you back like 20 minutes later and make you pay again. So we was literally killing because college, everybody in Arizona State, everybody had money. Everybody was rich as hell. So $20 wasn't shit, bro. So we was damn near bringing in like 30K a night just by throwing parties, bro. Yeah, that's crazy as hell. I seen a video of somebody, some 12-year-old send Kai sent at like 10K. But yeah, we was making like 20, 30K per party, and I was giving the host half, and then I would keep the rest. But also, I was doing a lot of other stuff, selling weed and stuff like that. Um, so I was killing it, bro. I was killing it. And then we'd kick you out and say, "Oh, cops are coming, everybody get out." And then literally 20 minutes later, we're like, "Oh, never mind, party's back on." And then we make you pay for it again to get back into the party. And the reason why people were doing it is because, first of all, they're the mansion parties. It was hella girls there. It just was like this was the spot to be. Like again, people were just flocking. Like I swear to God, there was an apartment complex. It was a penthouse. I knew the security guard there. I ended up selling him one of my street bikes. So he used to let me come in. You couldn't get in this apartment complex without a key fob, or you had to have somebody there that lived there to get in, and you could only bring a certain amount of guests. It's like 3 guests per day. I used to go to, like every single day. It was like paparazzi. You would go up to this apartment complex, and there's probably like 300, 400 people trying to get into the party. So I was to come in, knock on the window, and the security guard would open the door. He'd say, "All right, who's with you?" And everybody's like raising their hand, like me, me, me. And I was like picking people out of the crowd. Like I want her, I want her. He's cool. Come on. And I was bringing like 30, 40. This is the time. Listen, I brought like 40 people into this party one time, and we got stuck on the elevator on Friday the 13th. You feel me? Yeah, like shit was crazy, bro. Shit, we was lit out Arizona, bro. But I really had juice though. I had hella pool, bro. A lot of people fucked with me. Only because I was able to get them whatever they wanted at any given time. Whatever you needed, I got you. It didn't matter if it was 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was able to get shit done. Right? People again, I'm not I like a person who's a man of the word, who says what they're gonna do and does it. And at that time, that was like my big thing, bro. I couldn't stand somebody who could not keep their word. And I was just somebody that was, people respected, and I was able to do what I said. So I did get um, a lot of business just by being somebody that was respected, because again, I did what I said I was going to do. But as you guys can see, and why I'm just talking right now is because there's nothing going on. Right? Do you guys remember what I said earlier? I said if liquidity was swept on both ends, we're most likely going to get fine chopped. Right? What happened last time? And I'm going to show you guys again, and then we're going to get off. Right? Liquidity was swept on both ends, and then what did we get? We got chopped. So how did we find a trade outside of chop? Is we waited for price to break out in one direction. Right? So this is accumulation. This is what happened. So now what did we wait for? Price broke out the top. It retested. We took our trade and we made a higher high. Right? So this is kind of all that we're waiting for right now. Right? Look, price swept liquidity on both ends. It came back to liquidity swept on both ends. It came back to support. They respected it, and it went lower. Right? So now we are just on the other end of it. Liquidity was swept on both ends. We came back to support. So I believe that we are going higher. So now I want price to break out. Maybe even right here. I wouldn't mind. Right? If price broke out of this, just like this, came down to this level and retested it, I would take my position here, and hopefully, it works out. But this has already happened to us, guys. Literally, I just showed you what happened before. So this is what I would expect for us to be in a bullish structure, because this was our liquidity grab. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what we grabbed. And as you can see, this is exactly what we just tapped into, which this day was the 17th, right? The 17th. What day are we today? We are the 18th. So this is this, bro. Oh my god, this is the month. Oh my god, this happened exactly a month ago, bro. What happened the last? Oh, bro, I can't make this shit up, bro. Where's the 30th? really can't make this shit out. Remember last time when we talked about this, the 30-day low? Look, this is on the 30th, right? Oh shit. This is the 30th. This is the 30th, right? So this is called a 30-day low. Price has took 30 days to come back to this level, right? So this is the same shit, bro. This was the, where was it at? This was the 18th. The last time price was at this level. Where was the 18th at again? Right here, right? So the 18th, we are literally at the level that price was literally 30 days ago, guys. Right? Oh, that's so crazy. We literally just went over this shit, bro. So again, last time price was at this 30-day low, we end up going higher. So again, I'm just gonna expect the same thing. That's all I could do. Look right here, price right here at the matter of fact, what's today? 17th or some shit. So again, the 17th, 18th price was at this level, and we make a support level right here, resistance level right here, right? We came down, grabbing liquidity. We came higher, we broke above, we stood back on top, and then we went higher, right? So that is the only thing that I can expect to happen, is that price grab liquidity on both ends. 1, 2, we are coming down, and then we should be going higher, right? Again, it is, since, what the fuck is happening? There we go, right? It would have been great to get in right here because the risk is minimal right here. So if this price does come back down to this level and takes this liquidity right here, I'm most likely going to get into this trade just because I know my stop loss is going to be super short. Right? If I take this trade here, my stop loss is right here, and then my TP is going to be up here at this support level right here. Right? So this is what I'm looking for, which is 6RR. Right? So if this bullish, if this ended up becoming bullish because of this highs breaking all of these, right, and then this is kind of what's going to happen, guys. Right? If price is rejecting and that we are still not getting enough data, which I don't believe. I honestly believe that we created this higher high. I mean, yeah, this higher low for a reason. Every single time, look, price came up, it broke this high, it came back down. What did it do? It went right to a fib level, right? Fib level right here. What happened right here, guys? Price is at our fib level, 786. Right? Even though the wick, we don't really care for the wick. The wick could come all the way down here. We care about the body of the candle, and the body of the candle closed right at 786. So this is a key reversal area, bro. Again, this is not a bad trade to take and just put your stop loss below the wick of 786, right? Because if it goes below this right here, and then we're wrong, right? So we take our shit super short, make it 6RR. This is not a bad trade whatsoever. Instead of being an A plus, this is an A setup, 100%. If you could get a candle to close above on the, let's see real quick. If we get a candle to close above this level right here, it's not a bad trade, guys. think it's time for us to get off these charts. We don't need to be looking at it anymore. There's, you know what I mean? We're just going to keep walking ourselves in circles and basically giving a new explanation for every fucking candle that's printed. And that's not what we need. We need to come back at 12 o'clock and look for the data. Because again, as you remember, 12 o'clock is when price likes to move, right? What time is this? This is 2 a.m. And then we get the 3 o'clock drop, right? So around 1 to 2 o'clock, I'll be looking on the charts to maybe catch a move, right? What time? Consolidation this week, right? This is 12 p.m. No, I need 12 a.m. 6 a.m. Yeah, look, 12 a.m. We get the drop in the next couple hours, right? So I am looking for price to move around that time period. This is 9, 10, 11, 12. We get the nice, holy hell, that's a nice push. We get, 150 pips, which is $14, which is $10 per point, which would be, sheesh, that could be a big fucking move. That's a 14K move right there. $10 per point, 1,488 points. Holy hell! But yeah, we will end on that note. If you guys have any questions, I am gonna post. I think I should just start posting the lives. I gotta find an area where I can just post the lives, and you guys can go back and just rewatch the live. Because I can't post in the Discord because it always says, "Oh, too much data" or whatever the fuck it says. So I gotta find a place where I can just post the live, so you guys can just rewatch them. Facebook. Alright, say no more. I'm gonna make a matter of fact, I just made a new Facebook. Alright, bet. I'm just gonna find an area where I can just post the lives and y'all can just go rewatch them over and over again. I don't want to. I will do that with my YouTube, but I want to get my course out there first. Which again is just a free course. It's just gonna allow you to see everything, indication, correction, continuation, and then my trade setups, and then I want to start posting my lives. But I want to build the page first before I start posting the lives, right? I do want to start streaming on YouTube as well. I want to start doing 9 a.m. streams and actually stream New York session. Now just record the live and post it on YouTube unlisted, and then just send it the link in the chat. How do you post the unlisted? What does that mean? Oh, okay. All right. Well, that might. Yeah. All right. Bet. All right. Bet. That's what I'm gonna do then. I think I did record this one, so let's hope that the audio worked. And that's what I'll do. I'll just continue to repost the videos, and if you guys want to go watch them, go watch them. If not, it is what it is. But it definitely will help for the meantime, just to be able to go, you know what I mean? But I am just gonna start just doing them and just doing my trade recaps. Yeah, I appreciate you for that because that definitely helps because I don't know nothing about this shit at all. So yeah, that's fire. Um, yeah, we won't end on that note, guys. I appreciate y'all. Stay active, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, for most of y'all been here for a minute now, right? So that just shows the discipline and the dedication that you have to getting better in trading. So don't give up, bro. Replay, yes, let's definitely do that. Let's do some battles this week. What I recommend for homework would be to identify levels and identify market structure on a higher time frame, right? So find out where your levels are, mark out your highs and your lows on a higher time frame, and then post them in the chat. Post them in chat room, in the in fucking SEC chat, and just basically ask people, hey, is this right? Right? So we all could basically correct the people that are having problems. So do that, all right? Post your support and your resistance. Maybe give a little explanation, like for instance, like this. Let's go down to a lower time frame real quick. and it's basically do this. This is my support, this is my resistance, price is bearish, so I want an indication, a correction, and a continuation, right? So if price is bearish, we want an indication, a correction, and a continuation, right? So basically do that. I mean, you don't have to go, you could go to any pair, right? It would be better just to go to random pairs and just look at the charts and see if you could find the indication, correction, and continuation, right? It doesn't mean you have to trade that pair. It's just like right now, right? This is our support level, right? So this is our indication right here, indication, right? This is our correction right here, coming back to this level. And then what should we have? We should have our continuation. So we would take our sell and take it back down to this level, right? So this is kind of what you should do, right? Just say, hey, this is my indication. Where the fuck is indication? Indication, indication. This is correction. And then this is continuation. Right, so just do that. GJ, whatever, it doesn't matter what the fuck, just pick a random one. You just pick anything and just find out if you could identify it in like a 15-minute time frame or higher. Say, okay, this is the support level. Price broke below, so this is our indication, right? Anything below this level, we're bearish. So our correction is coming back to that level. Once you come back to that level, just show that this is what you would do. You would take a sell back down to the lows, or you could even look for lower lows. And then what we do is we'll come back like an hour or two later and see if you were right. You see what I'm saying? Go back, make sure again, like let's say you do GBP USD. Take a screenshot, right? Post it into the Discord, come back 2 hours later and see if you were correct. You know what I mean? That's the best thing. That's the only way homework is going to work, right? Is by making a prediction and then checking to see if you're right without putting money on the line. Because if you could do this over and over and over and over again, it's going to make your confidence go through the roof, and it's going to make your trading easier because you're not going off emotion, you're going off strategy. What time frame? 15 or higher. Whatever one looks more clear to you. But 15 or higher. Like right now, look. Do you see how you have the indication below this level? And then we have the correction back to this level. And then the continuation should be the sell that we get, right? But if we go down to like the 30-minute, we still have the indication. We have the correction. But if we go down to the 4-hour, you don't see any of that, right? There's nothing. So that means that we're not going to look at the 4-hour because there's no data giving us, right? We're not going to look at the 2-hour because guess what? There's no data, right? So we're going to go to the 1-hour, and the 1-hour is not showing it clear either. All we see is an indication. We're not getting the correction yet, right? So what's the 30-minute? The 30-minute is giving it to us, but it's not there yet. So the 15-minute is there, right? So just give it to us in a lower, whatever time frame makes sense, whatever one that you see, right? You may, again, you could do it in a 5-minute if that's what helps. You know what I mean? But just don't go below 5-minute, right? I like to do it in the 15-minute or higher, but at the end of the day, it's whatever looks clear to you. You know what I mean? So again, practice. Practice doing one on the 15-minute. Practice doing one on 1 hour. Practice doing one on the 4-hour, right? You see how we identified this in the 15-minute? So now let's see. Ready? Let's go to the 2-hour and let's try and identify one in the 2-hour, right? So in the 2-hour, this was our support level, right? Price made its indication, it made its correction, and it made its continuation, right? So now you just mark it out and show me that you know what an indication looks like. Hey, this is what an indication looks like, Breezy. And I'm like, okay, you're right, that is an indication. And then you're gonna say, hey, this is what a correction looks like. And I'm gonna say, okay, cool, you caught the correction too, that's awesome. Right? And then you're gonna show me what a continuation looks like. And you can say, hey, this is the continuation. Right? So you can either do it that way by showing me already what happened, or you could take your guesstimate and say, this is what I think is gonna happen. But on GC now, we are in a range. Yes, we are in a range in GC. But yeah, I mean, just pick random pairs. It doesn't, bro. You could go to Tesla. It doesn't even matter, right? You go to any fucking one. They're all the same thing, right? You can go any one. Pick any stock. It doesn't even matter. Just show me that you know what you're talking about, right? Show me you know what levels are, This is another level, right? Show me you have our indication breaking above this level. Show me you have your correction back to this level, and then you have your continuation, right? So that is kind of all that we want, right? Indication, which is above this level, making a new high, and then we have our correction, right, coming back to this level, and then what we have after that, our continuation, which is the buy that we take. I'm not spelling it right because I'm just trying to be fast. But you see what I'm saying, guys? That's all I want you guys to do is identify them, send them in the chat, and everybody could help you say, hey, no, you're wrong, or hey, no, look at it this way, right? Because if you guys can't identify them on your own, and then it's just going to take a lot longer, right? So just do it, do maybe pick one in each time frame. And again, look, here's another one. This is how simple this shit is. This is the high. What did price do? Price broke above it. So this is our indication. It made its correction back down to this level. And then we have our continuation all the way up here, making a new higher high. So if we look at gold right now, what time frame do you see a continuation? 15 minutes. So let's see. So in the 15-minute, this is our level that just broke. So we know that price has broken below this level. So we know that this is our indication. Our correction is coming back to this level. We take our sell and we are in continuation until, yes, so you are right. We are in continuation in that time frame, right? But as of right now, we are in a range because we are from 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock this morning until right now, we are consolidating, right? So even though we have been in a correction state, this right here, grab liquidity. So now that means, honestly, that it's almost a reset, right? If you grab liquidity and you see how like every single time we created a lower low. Let me see, where the fuck are we just at? Right, every single time we have an indication, correction, continuation. Yeah, that's all we're waiting for is a break. That's literally what ICC is a break and retest. It's just not the retest that most traders do in the break and retest. It's just a little bit different. Okay, so again, remember indication, breaking structure, correction, continuation. The continuation has to make a lower low, right? Or if you're going higher, it has to make a higher high, right? So again, for instance, this is our structure right here, our highs and our lows. We make a high, so this is our indication, this is our correction, and this is our continuation, making a higher high, right? So just remember, it has to make a higher high or a lower low. So just remember that, okay? Yeah, so I'm gonna get out of here. My girl's about to pull up and I gotta clean the fuck up. So I'm about to get up out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'll see y'all tonight. So just do your homework, post in the Discord, and everybody who sees it, just please comment. No problem, Pocahontas. But yeah, just please comment so everybody can get, a general understanding. If you see somebody do something wrong, say, hey, no, this is what you need to do, or hey, no, that's not the right level, and then we'll go from there. But appreciate you guys for being here, and let's get to this money, guys. I will see you on the next one, and I will see you guys in the morning.